Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Skateboard Nation. Everybody can see my our guest tonight, Steve CATHEY. Let me talk a little bit about Steve first before we get started, so I can get this thing all up and running right. So Steve CATHEY, first of all, has done just about everything in the industry. Designer. You design products. You're a team manager, professional skateboarder. Let's see, what else? Is there anything else other than Hall of Fame?
Hall of Fame.
2021 class, which, I'm humbled after I saw your pictures and stuff. How many pictures you had in the magazines back in the day was unbelievable.
Wow.
Since I was going through it all, I was just like sitting there like another picture, another picture, another picture. I'm like, oh my gosh, you had like 9 pictures in one magazine. I'm like, wow. And that's just our magazine. That doesn't count international or anything else. So, and I know you are quite the international personality as well, guy, as far as that goes. I know you travel the world.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, so now that you have a little bit of knowledge on Steve, let's get started. But before we do,
yes.
No, this goes to everybody that's out there. I just want to thank for watching us on YouTube. If you do like the show, please hit like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
Absolutely.
Okay, so now we're going to get started. So we first got going here. Tell me about how you started, where we went, where we are at, where you lived,
all that good stuff.
All that fun stuff.
All that fun stuff.
So,
also, just jumping back for a second, thank you for the nice intro there. That was awesome.
Man,
and I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit later, but the photos in the magazine and everything else, and really that was, as I always say, right place at the right time. Opportunities were there, but it was just a lot. Thank yous to GNS and Dave McIntyre, because they really made those opportunities available. A lot of times. So traveling and everything else. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. But as far as your opening question, as far as how I got started, where, and all that good stuff. So for me personally, it was I played Little League like all the other kids and was horrible at it. Struck out every game. So that didn't work. Then I tried out for Pop Warner football and just got worked. I was just a small kid, and it didn't work. I just got killed. I only lasted 2 weeks. I went through the training, the first 2 weeks of training, and I just stopped. And then my sister was dating a guy named Jimmy Lester from the South Bay up in LA, and he was a competitive surfer, and he would come down. I lived in Escondido at the time.
Wow.
Right here where you guys have your offices. And so he came down and he brought a skateboard. And I'm sure I had seen skateboards. I was probably 10. And anyways, and I think it was maybe a Hobie Super Surfer or something. It seemed like there was maybe clay wheels and had wood inlays and so on and so forth. But so my sister and I we lived on top of a hill, and we would just make turns going back and forth. And the goal was to see how many switchbacks or turns you could make, until you got too fast and, fell or whatever it might have been. But so that's really my introduction to skateboarding, was just that. And all of a sudden it was like, this is great. I'm not striking out. I'm not getting beat up by other kids and getting pummeled, getting tackled. I could do this on my own. And if I did well, that was awesome. If I didn't do well, that's my fault.
Stood up and did it again.
Yeah, do it again.
Do it again. Wow. Unreal. Okay, so you started out, kind of went over the basics of the first board.
Yeah.
Had clay wheels and such. So probably 5 inches wide.
Yeah, exactly.
As we all did.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and started in Escondido. So when did you get back down to the beach areas and moving in there?
So living in Escondido, my parents at the time had gone through divorce. My dad moved up to Los Angeles, and my mom moved us down to Claremont. And so we lived in some apartments, which was awesome, and it was it was great. It had it had 2 pools and all the a rec room and all this fun stuff. And it's like every apartment there was kids. I mean, so it was just a ton of kids. But so that's actually, I was probably 11 years old at the time, and that's where I first met Lane Oakes. Okay. So Lane lived in the apartments as well. We learned there was a couple other, Steve Gosnell, Russ Gosnell, some other guys all lived in the apartments, and
Wow.
so it was a fun place to grow up as a kid. And so at 11, being closer to the beach, now we start surfing. And we, living 10 miles from the beach, we sometimes would get rides. We'd surf at La Jolla Shores, or we started taking the bus with our surfboards down to Crystal Pier down in Pacific Beach. And we'd have our skateboards. So really skateboarding when I started originally, but then it just became a mode of transportation. Basically, you rode your skateboard to the bus stop with your board. And then surf was good, you surfed, and surf wasn't so great. Then we just went and skated different places.
Man, it sounds a lot like the Dogtown guys story.
Imagine that.
Only it was happening in San Diego.
Well,
at either the same time or before, right?
Well, it did. I was thinking about this morning, Dave. It's Jay Adams, rest in peace. But I love Jay. He was when we were kids, we actually surfed against each other. And then, of course, skated. I want to say, I'm sure we skated against each other, but I would really want to say we skated with each other. It was always a good connection as far as Dogtown and down south, in my opinion. But I remember in an interview that I watched, and I just thought it was classic, and it's true. But somebody asked me, and they asked them, Jay, and they said, "Well, Jay, what's the difference between Dogtown versus down south?" And Jay, just kind of in his way of answering, he just said, "Well," he goes, "down south is kind of like the Brady Bunch, and he goes, "We're kind of like the Bad News Bears." And I just thought that was awesome. I just thought that was a great answer, a good description, good, bad, or in between. But I just thought that was awesome. That was fun.
I think that pretty much holds true, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I'm not going to say that we were a bad group of people or anything. We pretty much did it. Okay, so anyway, we get into freestyle. Well, before even freestyle, you were already riding banks and doing all that kind of stuff. We have a picture here of you in La Jolla.
Okay, at Pipeline.
Yeah, at the Pipeline.
Yeah.
And so is this is pre-freestyle days then, for right?
No, so this
was at the same time?
Well, okay. So basically, just like all of us, when we were skating, like I said, we'd surf, and if there was no surf, we'd skate. And then basically, if we're just practicing tricks, doing whatever. But really, it was finding banks or finding sidewalks, and we're really just trying to emulate surfing on a skateboard. I mean, that's really what it was. This place here, I was actually at a friend's house, and I was actually on a bike, and I was just riding through the canyon area, taking a shortcut, and I came across this, and I just went, "Wow, that would be a great spot to skate." So so I did a lot of sessions there, rode there for quite a bit, and some guys liked it, and some guys didn't like it. It wasn't the smoothest.
It was rough.
It was rough.
It was rough.
And but it was fast. You take off from the top, you push, and then you drop down, and you go up to the next bank, and you make do a vert or do a kick turn or whatever you're going to do. I think my fun story on that one is being involved with Gordon and Smith.
Yeah.
Being as a surf company, and a skateboard company, and GNS had an affiliation with a lot of top surfers. So they'd come into town if it was Mark Richards or Peter Townend. And Peter Townend at the time was, I believe, the world champion. And so he was at the GNS factory. And it was one of those situations. I was at the factory, and I kind of peered around. I heard he was there. And I went up, and I just kind of looked at him, and I just went to introduce myself. And he goes, "Hey, mate, Steve CATHEY?" And I go, "Yes." And I was like, "How'd you know my name?" I mean, it's just, so he was a skater, in Australia, but he was out here doing some promotions. And so he goes, "Oh, I'd love to go skate with you." And I said, "Well, we normally skate this place called Pipeline."
Yeah.
And so anyway, so I brought him.
So you got to skate with Peter at Pipeline. Unbelievable, man.
And it's just, I mean. So
where's the photos of that?
There should have been photos.
Oh, man.
There should have been photos. But so the story on that is that, so while we were there, PT watched me drop in a couple of times, and then he pushed and he dropped in, and it was kinked and then flat. Yeah. So he comes around and has a great style, and he's flying down the pipeline there, and he hits that kink and just did one of these. And so he came up and just was bloody and the whole deal. And So, we become good friends, over time. But anytime I ever see PT, shirt or not, he'll go, look, Steve, I remember he still has a scar there. And so that was awesome. That was special. And even at the Skateboard Hall of Fame, he made a comment on Facebook, which once again, I'm still in awe with pro surfers, things like that. But PT made a comment. He says, I had a great time. I was at the Skateboard Hall of Fame. I was there to support my friend Steve CATHEY being inducted. And
wow,
I'm still like getting chills going, oh my gosh, he knows who I am.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. So it's good times at
all right. This is a shot in the dark. Did you ever meet Mark Richards or any of those guys? Because they all wrote for GNS. Yeah,
I know, Mark. So I know. So Mark Richards, truthfully, Dave, if the opportunity comes up, it would. I think I actually saw him at a trade show, but didn't get to talk to him. But I've seen him in person. Yeah. But I didn't actually get to talk to him, and but would be one that I'd love to meet and see. I think probably the next one that kind of comes in line was which. Oh gosh, you just brought up. So when we were kids growing up surfing, we're looking at Surfer Magazine. I mean, we're just skating, like I said, just for mode of transportation, but everything was really all about surfing. And we saw the surf magazines and all of our heroes in there. So there were so one other situation came up. So when Carlsbad Skate Park opened up, so we went up there with the first skate park in the United States, and we were up skating, and I remember somebody saying. That Rory Russell and Jerry Lopez were going to be there. Wow! And I'm going, wow, that'd be awesome. And I just somebody had mentioned that, and I didn't even think about it. And we were just making our runs, and then I come back up to the top, and I just kind of like looked over to my left, and I went, whoa! and I looked, and I said, you're Rory Russell, and you're Jerry Lopez. Yeah. And Jerry Lopez goes, you're Steve CATHEY.
Wow.
Oh, God, really? So that just made my day. So once again, I had those opportunities to meet my surf heroes. Yeah. And so that was great. I mean, to be able to actually, and then to be able to, continue to see him over the years and still say hello. I saw Roy Russell at a movie premiere just about 6 months ago. Jerry Lopez was there as well. And so, yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I'm still starstruck.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now that I think back, I think I was there that day that those guys were one of the days that they were at that park. Mm-hmm. And I was just a little Grom kid. Nobody paid attention to me. I had no name. I've never been in the magazine. I wasn't anybody, but I just remember, I'm pretty sure I was there when those guys were there, and I was in the same boat. Like I wouldn't even go up to them or anything. I just stood back and skated, and that was it.
And truthfully, if it wasn't at a glance that I happened to look over and go, "Oh my gosh, that's them," I probably wouldn't have said anything. But for Jerry to say what he said, we're talking about it today. Yeah. I mean, it was a memory that I'll never forget.
Well, maybe he was watching. He'll call in.
Maybe so.
No. Well, if he does, I'll let you know.
So, and I know we've talked before, Dave, about Carlsbad that you'd get rides up there, and that with our good friend Billy Tusher. Yeah. And so that was the early days. Not everybody had the opportunity to start at Carlsbad Skate Park. Yeah. So that was a pretty special time.
Yeah, there's no question about it. That park was terrible, but it was the greatest too. Yeah. At the same time, because we didn't know any better, and everybody that was there was like a surf skater. You know what I mean? Like that's all you had. There's no tricks to be done. Right. The trick was a vert or just
that was before
carving and
got built with all the moguls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you just had just the three different levels of moguls.
And Greg, I think. I think I only skated Carlsbad a few times, and then from Carlsbad, because we were skating La Costa, and then also Carlsbad, and then shortly after that, Home Avenue came up. So I'm sure we'll talk about that. But actually, when you just made that comment, Bert going up the Bert or carving the bowl or whatever. So that was. I'll share one more.
Okay, do it.
My last one, but one more on my surf stars.
The only one we didn't miss out.
So this was awesome. So back in the day, back in the 70s, if it was Five Summer Stories or Super Sessions
Yes.
or Go For It or different surf movies, and of course we'd all go to the movies and check it out, and then it was really a surf movie, but then they would have a few scenes of skateboarding, if it was riding at Carlsbad or wherever it might have been. And so I had a small, part in the movie and some of the different movies, but as far as the real, the surfers, things like that, was Larry Bertleman and everybody else, Jerry Lopez, Roy Russell, all these guys. So at one of the movies, Super Sessions, they had flown Larry Bertleman over to basically be at the movie premieres, and then asked myself and a couple other skaters to be there as well. So of course now here we're backstage and we're getting to know him, and so we got a chance to meet and hang out with Larry, a couple of weekends, because they did it at different times. But it was fun. I actually, it's funny, I didn't actually get to skate with him when he was in San Diego, but he was surfing with a lot of the guys. I think with Mike Williams and Bobby Piercy brought him down to the cliffs to go surf. And but I had a little studio at the time down in PB, right behind the movie theater. So to be able to meet Larry, hang out with Larry, and then go back to the studio with all of our friends and girlfriends and hang out and party, and that's a memory I'll never forget. Because once again, I mean, these guys are just larger than life.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I remember kind of your studios down there. I think I'd been to most of them. I think I just it was a lot of fun down there. There's no question about it.
Well, you knew how that happened, right? With the studios or the garage? Or...
No, man, tell me.
Okay.
Let's have it.
So, well, Dave, also, too, I mean, just so the audience knows, you and I have known each other a long time.
Yes.
We met when we were young kids. We met in Pacific Beach. We met at Spring Valley. But we also hung out and surfed together. You were in my wedding. I was in your wedding.
Yeah.
So Dave and I have a lot of history in this respect. But so when I was mentioning about living in Claremont, and then we'd take our surfboards and we'd skate to the bus stop. We'd pay $0.25 and would take us down to the beach. And then what ended up happening is the bus decided to change the rules. Instead of being 6 feet, because all of our boards were 6 foot tall, down to 5 feet. And then, of course, we were starting to get denied. They wouldn't let us. So then we tried to hitchhike to the beach. We were, 14, 15 years old. Yeah. Hitchhiking to the beach, which probably wouldn't be safe in today's environment. But that's the best we could do. So then we thought, well, you know what? If we could rent a garage, a couple blocks from the beach in the alley, pay $25 a month, and have 5 guys, and we'd split it $5 a month each. Then that way we'd have a place to keep our boards, and then of course that turned into it was like a little frat house kind of a thing. I mean, we had a little table in there and a little TV and our boards, and I mean it's gross if you think about it now, but we had like old dirty mattresses that we found in the alley, and I mean, it's but when you're a kid, it was awesome. Yeah, and we'd surf all day, and then we'd cruise around on the boardwalk, and then we'd pick up chicks and we'd bring them back to the dirty mattress place and and just have fun, and it just but that was great. But that advanced to having a garage, and a guy that lived across the street was moving out, and he had offered. He said, "Hey," he said, "the studio, it has a garage plus a little studio, and it's $50 a month." And I was working at 7-Eleven at the time.
Wow.
So I was making a little bit of money, and anyway, so I ended up renting that little studio. And the thing I remember about it was my first apartment. My mom was nice enough, and I had a great relationship with my mom and my dad, but there was a lot of trust and a lot of support in that respect. But so I was only 15 when I moved out, and my mom was comfortable enough and confident enough, because I had just gotten a motorcycle and I was going to school, and she knew that I really wanted to be closer to the beach and be able to surf. But the studio, you had the garage, and then when you went in the studio, it had the refrigerator, the sink, the toilet, and the shower, all in the same setup there. Right. So it was fun. So it was good time that you do remember that timeline there.
Yeah.
I wonder how much does that go for now?
Oh yeah, probably $1,000.
No, yeah, more than
Or
that.
more.
It's down at the beach, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
50
I mean, that
bucks.
sounds
Oh, isn't that
exactly
great?
like the same place I had when I moved down to the beach too. I was off of Diamond.
I
And,
remember you had your apartment down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, for a lot of years, and then yeah,
And you and I used to paddle out on the original soft surfboards.
yeah, did that.
And you and I would just have a blast, and we'd run into each other and shoot our boards at
Tackle each
and-
other. Yeah.
oh, it was awesome. It was awesome. Good times.
If
at
I
City
cut
Beach.
you off, you'd knock me off. Yeah, I remember.
Oh, that was good times.
No, that there was some really fun summers down there for sure.
Yeah.
Especially. But anyway, all right, let's get back to freestyle.
Yeah.
Freestyle Steve.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Freestyle Steve. How did that all transpire? You came in and you were probably skating a lot with Dennis, I think, at that time, or like
So-
how did the whole freestyle thing come in? Was that you and Lane, or was it like where would you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. All
So
right.
I know. I just know Freestyle Steve, and I looked at the contest you'd win, and all the places that you got, all the top fives, and
yeah.
everything all the way through. So let's
right.
let's go down that avenue.
Okay. So so that photo there is La Costa.
Okay.
And I
Well, that was pre-freestyle then.
So no. That was just so.
At the
So
same
you
time?
go up La Costa, you'd skate up at the top,
right.
and then just doing freestyle tricks, everything else, and then you kind of watch the guys doing slalom, and you kind of get bored, so you start doing some downhill runs. I remember seeing a picture of Dennis Schufelt in the magazine.
Yes.
So this is my best version of trying to look like Dennis Schufelt.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, so he was one of my heroes, but to kind of jump back when, you know, once again, skateboarding for me was just a mode of transportation. It was just emulating surfing. And then once we had the garage and we didn't have to have our surfboards, we'd take the bus halfway down to the beach. We'd get off like at Ingram Street because it had a little bit more of a hill to it. And then we would just ride, you know, down the
nice,
sidewalk.
slow downhill,
Yep,
all the way to the beach.
All the way to the beach. There was little palm trees, and you
That's
felt like you were
about
getting tubed. And
12 blocks.
12 blocks.
12 to 15 blocks from
Yeah.
Ingram in. Yeah.
So, and then it got to the point we continued to want to emulate surfing. So my roommate and I, Wayne at the time, we remember Wayne? Yeah. And so we went and bought a couple of water skis and put, of course, our skateboard decks or skateboard wheels on it, and then basically we did that. And that lasted for about 2 weeks. And for whatever happened, I fell off my board. It went out into traffic. It got ran over and it broke in half. And then so I went down to PB Surf Shop.
Okay.
And at PB Surf Shop, Chris Yandel worked behind the counter, and I hadn't met Chris before. And like I said, I was just a surfer that just happened to skateboard to the beach.
Yeah.
And so I went in and talked to Chris, and I said, hey, I want to get the longest board that you have. And for some reason, they didn't have a Fiberflex, you know, in stock or whatever. So I got a Bane, and Bane was real popular at the time. And I think maybe it was 28 inches, something like that, 26, 28 inches. Yeah. And so he set it up, and he goes, gosh, Steve, once he knew me, you know, he said, hey, Steve, he goes, I'll put your board together, but you'll need to come back on the weekend because we've got the board, we've got the trucks, we've got the wheels, but we don't have the riser pads. So he set it up, and I remember him cranking down the trucks as tight as they could be because he didn't want me to dig in. Right. So then he invited me to in Pacific Beach. There's a hill called Tourmaline. Yep. Real steep hill going down into the
real steep hill. Yeah.
Real steep hill.
That was a steepie.
Are these ball bearings or these bearings?
Oh gosh, come on! This is okay. So this was early. This was Cadillac wheels. That timeline.
So they were ball bearings.
Yeah.
They were ball bearings, but it was also a wheel called Stokers.
Yep.
And so Stokers were a little bit bigger than the Cadillac. So once again, they would rub if you didn't have riser pads. So anyway, so I go up to Tourmaline. I got my new skateboard. I'm all excited, and so I see Chris there, and he was just a master. He would just make switchback turns, and he would do like one-footed Christies and just be up on the nose of his board making turns, and it was just phenomenal to watch how good of a skater he was. And so I'm thinking, well, shoot, this guy invited me, and I should at least try to skate. And And I wanted to try to emulate what he would do, but I would try to make a turn and it would just, it would just dig in. It was nothing. And and I was just in board shorts and a t-shirt because or just board shorts, no t-shirt. And I don't think I even had shoes on. Anyway, so I tried to make a couple of turns, nothing was happening. And I just thought, well, and I'd never done this in my life. For some reason, I just had the thought of going, well, I'll just bomb the hill. And how I survived that, I never know, but I bombed the hill and I was walking back up, and Chris just goes, I've never seen anybody do that. And he goes, you should come skate La Costa. And so that's really where it started. So the next weekend, I got a ride up to La Costa. I think I actually went with Chris. So we went up to La Costa. I had riser pads. And
isn't that a good turn now?
Oh, now I could make turns, and it was amazing. I mean, La Costa, as everybody knows, smooth as silk streets.
Yeah.
No cars, no nothing. It was just an unimproved, development, or just an improved development that just had the streets and the lights and everything else, but no houses, nothing. And so it had a big hill for slalom, but then it had a flat area, and everybody do freestyle tricks up there. So that's where freestyle started.
Yeah. Okay.
On that level.
Interesting. Okay. Wow. I just, back then I'd go to the park and I'd see people up on top practicing freestyle, and stuff that you could do in your room, and anyway, that's another story. But okay, so that's where you started practicing, doing all your freestyle.
And so yes. One thing I want to make a comment on is so when Chris brought me up to La Costa, and like I said, never been there before. And there were a lot of people, which was fun. But it was cool because Skateboarder magazine had their first issue out. I think it had Greg Weaver on the cover.
Okay. Yeah.
And but then also even in Surfer magazine there'd be pictures of Greg Weaver in Cadillac wheel ads.
Right.
And to see, gosh, as far as style, it had the best surf skate style of any skater ever.
Yeah.
And so myself included and everybody else, we all want to just be Greg Weaver. So
we grew our hair long.
Yeah, we grew our hair long, but to emulate his style.
Yeah.
And so I just remember being at La Costa and just doing freestyle tricks at the top, little 360s and different things. But it was more fun to actually just make turns down the street. And so I was, I was doing my turns, and I just happened to make a turn in front of this guy that had a baseball cap on and was taking pictures, and I just thought it was somebody's dad. I didn't know who it was. And so I was walking back up, and this guy said, hey, he said, when you come back down, do that same turn just about here. And he kind of pointed to an area. Yeah. And I thought, okay, that's fine. So I walk up and I come back down, and I remember seeing him off to the left, and so I was kind of going fast, and I just went into a turn, and that was it. I didn't think of anything of it, and that was it. Well, that one turn.
That's it.
So it was actually this similar photo. This photo here was actually at a photo session with Warren Bolster. Okay. Who was the photographer.
Oh, okay. It was another picture.
The black and white one, which was the contents page and that kind of thing, or the subscription page. So I always have fun with it. It wasn't a photo session. It was one turn at the right time, at the right place, and that photo showed up. They had a poster that said the new Skateboarder magazine on sale here in every surf shop, in every skate shop, in every sporting goods shop, all throughout the United States. Yeah. And I had no idea.
Life changer.
Oh gosh, it was, Dave, so much so that it was where we used to surf out at Crystal Pier in Pacific Beach. I was coming out of the water, and I was walking up the cliff, and it was, it's dark, and we'd always surf till sunset.
Till dark.
Yep. And so I was walking across the street, and I just happened to glance at the front window of PV Surf Shop. I'm sorry, San Diego Surf Shop.
Yeah, that's right.
And I see this photo, and I go, oh, skateboarding. That's me. Dave, I got to tell you, it freaked me out. Yeah. I mean, one is to see a photo of yourself, and so at first it was like, I was really excited, thinking this is awesome. And then I just had this fear, this flash of fear come over me. and going, oh God, I got to get better as a skateboarder.
Yeah.
I got to live up to this photo.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that basically is going down Tourmaline, going to La Costa, getting a photo in the magazine. That's actually how I got on GNS. So so Chris Yandell asked me to be on GNS, and that's because it's always a fun thing. Well, how did you get on the team you were at?
Yeah.
So nothing was planned. It just happened that way, and happened to have a board that wouldn't turn and bombed a hill, and Chris asked me to go to La Costa. There you go.
Hey, man, I mean, it's just those kind of stories that it just happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, like, my backside air, like a big O.
Legendary.
Yeah, but man, I was sick as a dog, and I was trying to get out of the contest. And I was just like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to go big.
Yep.
And I just went as fast as I could and did it. But that now, it's kind of in the history books, you know what I mean?
But still, to give you credit,
it was
back then.
It was just an accident,
But also,
you're not telling.
Yeah, we all know that story.
Yeah, you know that story. I've told it before, but
still, Dave, for you to pump from way back, and then do the drop, and then hit the face wall, and just blast the biggest air that anybody else was doing as far as the backside air, and then come. Heck, you even if all you did was a backside air and that was your run, you would have been in the top 10 just from that one backside air.
Yeah, maybe.
No, it wouldn't have been. I mean, it was it was a backside air that just had so much style and so much height that nobody else had. So
yeah, well, thank you, but yeah, it's just funny how it just my whole point was just to say like mistakes like that or the right place, right time, like you said, can bring it can change you. You can change your life. It's
100%.
So that was kind of a life changer for me too. As far as just getting notoriety and people going like, there is a Dave Andrick in the world, you know what I mean? Because before like that, I didn't feel anything special or anything, it was just, but after that, people started talking about it, I heard a lot about like, I saw your hair, oh my gosh, it's like, okay, cool.
Well, that was that was a talk in the industry at the time, and that was a big,
it's
just like,
yeah, absolutely.
It was just, it was just funny because, you sit there and say that, I pumped from way up there and came in, right? Well, I was in the bathroom at the time, and they were saying, Dave, if you don't take your last run, if you don't take your run right now, you lose it. And I'm like, no, I don't want to lose it. So I just came and I never stopped. And I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I never practiced any of it. Yeah. I never practiced anything. And the first one I didn't make, I just flew up there and held it. And then I went, God, I could have made that. I better go try it again.
Nice.
So then that's when I went and did it again. I made the next one. But anyway, it was just, that's how that whole thing came up. I just,
So that was always a famous story. And then of course, which is a tribute to you, Dave. I mean, for you to do the Andrick invert, that's just, I mean, how cool is it to see kids do it today, to hear it be announced in the X Games, in the Olympics. I mean, that's kind of cool. I mean, you could be with somebody in a bar and they just go, this guy's named Dave Andrick or whatever, you guys are watching, and they're going to go, wait, they just said your last name. It's like, I invented that.
Well, I'll be honest with you. The time that I really felt the way you're talking about, I've never been in skateboarding so much as it was when Shaun White did it in snowboarding.
Yes.
And it was his every time, last trick, in the Olympics, and he did an Andrick on the snowboard as his last trick. And I was like, and they were like, and that was an Andrick. And I was like, I'm in snow.
Your whole family's there going, yes, that was awesome.
Yeah, but anyway, good enough times. About me. No, okay, so... All right, so we're trying to get back to freestyle.
Okay, back to freestyle.
Because I forgot about everything that was happening in La Costa because, it's. How long was that last thing on La Costa? Like, how long were you going up there with everybody doing it? Because there were some superstars that were.
Everybody came to La Costa.
Stolberg and
Henry Hester.
Conrad, and then my Conrad and. Did I say Piercy?
Yeah.
There were some heavy hitters that were.
Of course, D.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Di Dudson.
Yeah.
And then there was, the Badland guys, Evans, and those guys I heard were coming down too as well. So, that's a star strike for skateboarders. You know what I mean? When they go in, it's like, I went up there maybe once. but it was much later after everybody mine went up there and petered out pretty much. But I went up there like, I don't even remember who I went up there with. Might have been my sister who dragged me up there, but I don't remember.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, they had slalom, they had downhill, and they had freestyle, and everybody just, I mean, you literally would go there at 8 in the morning and leave at 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And then maybe you take a run to the local grocery store or whatever and get, something to eat or whatever and get rehydrated. But I mean, it was an all-day session. Sometimes Saturday, but normally Sunday was the big day.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the day because that's when they ran races and everything else. But you'd either see somebody from the magazines, or you'd see somebody that you always wanted to meet, or you would meet somebody. But I mean, it could have been, the guys from Dogtown. It could be the Logans. It could be.
That's right, the Logans.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The biggest skate family.
Biggest skate family.
I'm sorry about that, Logans. I missed you guys, but
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so to see the whole Logan family, I mean, that was just their backyard.
Yeah.
And then got Ty Page and all the guys from the South Bay area and Laura Thornhill and but it was a mecca. And then
Ellen
and Ellen O'Neill.
Yeah.
Ellen Berryman as well.
Berryman.
So all the and so Kim we had skater, great style, and but Kim of course being there, and then also and all the Bain team.
Yeah.
Bain was so if it was all the local, if it was GNS and Bain and Logan's and all the local people, and then everybody from out of town, would all gather there. But so that kind of led to, so it was slalom, but then it was a that kind of led into the first skateboard contest at Del Mar, which was a freestyle contest. And that was where you get to see in the movies, and like at the Dogtown movie, they kind of portrayed that, as far as the Dogtown guys coming down, and then and to give them credit, it was. I mean, their style was completely different when, because we were just doing. We were just doing what we knew as far as
freestyle tricks, kick flips, handstand the flip, kick, whatever.
Yeah.
Dafties. Yeah, that's right, man.
Well, it was
360s.
It was 360s.
Yeah.
It was gosh, you know what? Anything that had to do with gymnastic moves was kind of like me striking out at baseball or getting pummeled in football. I'm not a gymnast. I can't do any of that kind of stuff. I can't do anything on my hands on a skateboard. I tried, but it just wasn't for me. Yeah. But as far as 360s and just different turns and different things. So that's what we did.
Yeah.
I think I did bring this one. So this was I'll show that for the camera as well. But that was
this one here.
So this was actually the first contest that I was ever in at the one in Del Mar.
Okay.
I think I got 8th place, and I tied with Shogo.
Okay.
Shogo Kubo. So that was fun. And then that also led to another contest in Pacific Beach called it's at Kate Sessions.
Okay. Yeah.
And they did, and that's where, it's funny how this ties together, but that's where they did a lot of the footage for Super Sessions. Joe Roper was in it. Pineapple was in it. Greg Weaver.
Was that Warren Miller?
No, it was Hal Jepsen.
Hal Jepsen.
So he was the guy, and then that's where the skateboard footage was for that movie, Super Sessions, that was really, and then Larry Berlin was the star of that movie, and that's where they played in Pacific Beach, and we got to meet Larry Berlin, and that's where that story came from. So, really that's really where the contest started. Really was going to be in the, from Del Mar and then Kate Sessions, and then it just kind of started snowballing from there.
Yeah.
So I think that the next one that I went to was in Ventura.
Okay.
And did you go to that contest, Dave?
No.
No. Okay.
Not for freestyle.
Okay, so that one they had slalom, they had downhill, and then in the top area they had flatland freestyle, and and I'd been practicing more, from the different contests and stuff, but that was actually the first. So I did win that contest for freestyle, and I got it was. So it was the California State Championship. Mm-hmm. And so I was on GNS at that time. And so I got first place on that one. But I remember even back then, Dennis Martinez was up there. Pineapple was there. Lane Oaks was there. So even we were from San Diego. We all traveled up to there as well. And so that was, so that was my first win as far as a major competition. And then the next one, it was this was kind of fun. There was a promoter that put on a contest in New York at Nassau Coliseum.
There's the big one.
There's a big one. So it was fun. It was a 3-day event, and I think we skated 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah.
And the Coliseum was packed.
Yeah.
I mean, it was all 3 days, and basically what they did is they took like the top 20 or 30 skaters at the time and invited them all to come. Paid for all of our expenses, fly us out, put in the hotels, take care of our meals. They paid us a per diem. We all got paid to be there, and then basically it was interesting. There were no judges, and the way that they judged it is they had like like in a Coliseum, you have like a big scoreboard up on top.
Yep. Yeah.
So what they would do is you would do your freestyle routine, and then based on the applause of the audience,
Oh my God.
would be a score of 1 to 10.
Wow.
So I'm thankful for myself in that respect. But so it was for the World Masters Championship. So for the World Championships, Russ Howell and I tied for first, and we both got 10s. On I guess the final was the last day, and we both got 10s. 3 out of the all 3 sessions that we did, we each got 10s. And anyway, so that was fun. So that was my first introduction to becoming pro, was winning that contest with tying with Russ Howell with an applaudometer to judge it.
Hey man, that's awesome. Wow, that's an interesting way.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's actually really cool.
Imagine if they did that today.
I know, right? Well, you know what? Honestly, I remember contests back in the mid '80s and stuff that I went to and saw that was basically judged on that.
Okay.
Because the judges just fell with it.
Oh,
Like, the
right.
crowd is so loud for him, we better give him extra points.
Yeah.
And even though I didn't agree with the way the outcome came, it's just because there's just certain pros out there that everybody loves.
Absolutely.
And they win whether they fall or not.
Yep. Exactly.
And I watched a guy skate and never fall and did everything, and I saw another guy fall on every run and won.
Yeah, that wasn't right.
I know, man. But that was his skateboarding back then. You know what I mean? At the same time, so nobody knew exactly what anything was doing. So what did you? All right, what was how much time were you spending practicing back then, like freestyle? I mean, were you still surfing all the time and doing freestyle, or did you start getting serious about it? Like,
I think really, honestly, Dave, at that point, I think by winning a world championship, I mean, that was a pretty big deal. It was back in 1976, and I think really at that point, I had a signature deck, signature sticker, or a signature board, and then at the same time, GNS was growing and adding new team riders.
Okay.
And so Stacy Peralta came on, and they were giving him a model board, 4 different sizes. Henry Hester had a signature board, and then so they gave me a signature board for freestyle. And I honestly, Dave, I'm thinking back now, but yeah. So at that point, I thought, okay, the light went off. I went, okay, this is my job. This is what I do for a profession. This is what I. So I surfed. So really, at that point, yes, I was practicing every day.
Yeah.
I would find a tennis court or an open area or a flat area or a parking lot or something, and I would practice my freestyle routine and just try to hone it in and make it better. And it was normally like a 1 or 2 minute freestyle routine, and you pick whatever music, if it was the Beach Boys, or if it was Sweet Home Alabama, or whatever it might, whatever was popular back then.
Ted Nugent, come on, man.
Yeah. But so yeah, not quite Rod Stewart.
Yeah, he came a few years later there.
But anyway, so that's but yeah, took it serious.
Yeah.
But that led into, now you were doing, other contests, you were doing demos, you were getting to go to Europe or Asia or all around the United States. And so, yeah, it's yeah, never planned on it being a profession, never planned on getting paid, never planned on anything, and here it worked out.
Hey, what's P8?
It's what?
P8?
Oh,
Yeah. Because no, it's just something. We have a picture of like your freestyle board. Was this the board right here?
Yeah. So that was my my signature board at the time.
That was a freestyle board.
That was a freestyle board. No kicktail.
Right. No nose.
No nose. It was it was a fiber flex board, so it did have flex to it. And so originally, because the fiber flex boards originally were primarily for slalom,
right?
But they had maybe a little cutaway or whatever, but this one was just rounded nose, kind of pointed, rounded nose, rounded tail, kind of. But yeah, so then that way you could do all your freestyle tricks, your 360s, a pirouette, or kick flips were just starting to be done. And
okay, do you still have any of these left?
I have one.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so it's interesting too when when we grew up, when you had your model boards or your different products or shirts or apparel or different things. I didn't keep a lot of stuff, but I did try to keep like if it was a yo-yo wheel or a skateboard deck or certain items. But so I do have one, and and we're talking about, and I don't know where it is right now. No, it was at the Skateboard Hall of Fame, because remember, all of our boards were displayed at the Skateboard Hall of Fame, yours and mine and everybody else, and I'm trying to think where it is. I don't even know where it is now. I don't. Maybe
did you give that board for the Hall of Fame?
I did.
That the board you gave them?
You know what? It went to the museum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's with the Skateboard Hall of Fame museum.
Okay, right.
Gosh, I had no idea. I just thought of that because they took all the boards and whatever if you didn't bring it back, it went to the Skateboard Hall of Fame.
Oh, is that what
museum.
happened?
Yeah. Did you get yours back?
No.
Well, now you know where it is.
I didn't even know. I didn't even ask.
Yeah.
I gave it to Mark Schmidt and I never got it back. It just stayed on the wall. When I left, somebody took it down, and I figured it was going to go in the Vans building or something,
Yeah. Well, you know what? So it's safe. So it's at Skateboard Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess I'm going to have to go up there and look then.
Yeah.
I need to get up there. Guys over there at the Hall of Fame, they're great. You guys, if anybody's out there, you guys should make it a point to go see those guys, because the museum is so full of history. So many boards in there that you just go, it takes all day to look at, and so many boards I had no idea where they came from. And then I find out, this was a top 3 manufacturer. They sold 20 million of those. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, it's exactly what you're saying, Dave. I did get a chance to go up and tour around and get to see everything. And it was, it exactly what you just said. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. I mean, here we're all involved in skateboarding. We grew up with skateboarding. That was our life. And literally, I was just in awe. I had no idea the original roots and all the different boards. And but it really, you'll go up there and you spend 2-3 hours
easy, just easy,
looking at everything. But it's worth it. And the great thing about it too is that it is all donation, as far as keeping the doors open, and so. Anything that any of us can do to continue to contribute and continue to support, because it is the lifeblood
of skateboarding
and the history.
It's our heartbeat right there.
It is. So and we're very fortunate, Dave, that we have a skateboard Hall of Fame, and that we've got a museum, and to keep the the memories alive.
Yeah.
And just like what you're doing right now as well, doing skate stories. I love this.
That's why awesome. I wanted to do this, just because, it came out. And, I talked to a few people about this, like, hey, we need to do this. It was always, we need to. And, just everybody is too busy. And it's just like, well, if you're going to do it yourself. I can't remember who told me that originally. I was like, all right, I'm going to get it. And then Greg, of course, was like, hounding me for at least 6 months.
6 months.
And maybe easy 6 months about, come on, Dave, I'll help you do it. I'll help you do it. I'm like, yeah. And then finally I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And actually, George Orton and Kevin Moore were my first 2 guinea pigs.
Oh, wow.
And we sat down and we did a show. And and we never released it just because it was the very first pilot. Maybe someday we'll show how bad it is.
Oh, that would be a good one to watch.
Yeah. But George, Kevin, and George, personality wise.
There you go.
And
yeah, you definitely need to redo.
So,
and I know Kevin's done his.
Yeah.
Redo.
I gotta get when George gets back. We'll do it again and do it with him. Oh yeah.
George made some amazing food.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we were at Kevin's house and hanging out, and George went down. Him and Kevin went down and bought the moon, and they had everything. We were just like, I'm like, man, it took 3 or 4 hours, I think, to cook everything, and we were sitting there, and I'm like, well, I gotta go. But anyway, okay, so let's keep going on this. What's that? 7. Let's go on this. Okay. Okay, well, let's talk about this picture really quick while we're at it. I know it looks like you're in the stage, the number 1 on the podium there.
So it's interesting. It's so yes, because I'm in the middle, it looks like if the podium went down this way, it looks like I got first place, but that's not the case. I actually got 3rd place. Pineapple, Doug Saladino got first place.
Where's this at? Is this Oceanside?
So this is at Oceanside,
yeah, okay.
and this is one of the coolest venues because, of course, it's right on the beach. It's right on where the pier is at, and it's kind of like a concert venue. It has a stage, and then it has just a big flat
cement area.
Yeah. And one of my favorite contests, I was I was happy just getting 3rd.
Yeah.
Pineapple did a perfect routine, and
that's Steve Day.
That was Steve Day.
That's Steve Day.
Steve Day, and
I don't know who the far left guy is, but
Matt Barden.
Is that Matt? Okay.
I think it's that.
I think that might be Matt Barden, and I'm not quite sure who's on the left. Somebody from Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
Santa Cruz shirt on.
Yeah.
That was a great event. That was I remember Larry Gordon was there, and all the GNS.
Everybody was there to support.
Everybody was there to support.
Yeah. A lot of people that showed up.
Yeah, that was a big contest.
I was there. It was the summer I came back from Japan, so I was sitting there.
Nice.
Yeah. So, all right, because we have a picture of Mowgli. What's Mowgli? Where's Mowgli?
Which one is it?
It's 9.
Glad you guys have this all organized.
Yeah, it's number 9 here. It's number 9.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
So where is this?
All right. So this is...
where's Mowgli?
So, okay. This is the Escondido Reservoir.
Okay, Valley Center Reservoir.
Escondido.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's probably close to Valley Center, but it is in Escondido. And it was an old water reservoir. And it was just, one of those places was designed to house water.
Okay,
and it got drained and emptied, and it being a skate spot. And
and they recreated it in the back portion of Del Mar.
Oh, you're right. I never knew that.
Was the Escondido Reservoir.
That's right. Well, what was kind of cool about this is, back in the early days, it was, if you went to Carlsbad and then you went to La Costa and then, drainage ditches or the one pipeline in La Jolla or this reservoir. I mean, it was just fun to have different types of skating, if it was a bank or if it was a...
so who's driving you around all these places? Because, you're back at the beach, now you're in Escondido, back in the La La Land. And
I was one of those kids that, at 15 and a half, I got my motorcycle, and then 16, I had my driver's license right at 16, right on my birthday.
So were you 18 when you got that red and yellow truck?
Were you
18 or 19?
Probably 18 or 19, and actually, Dave, I don't know if I ever told you this, but that I bought that truck. It's funny, a lot of people think because I painted it red and yellow that GNS bought it for me. So actually, what it was is the contest winnings that I split with Russ Howell at the World Championships. I used that money to buy that truck.
Got it. There's the truck.
So there's a truck.
Yeah, you know what? I honestly just thought that was the royalties you got from the yo-yo wheels, because you are always yellow and red on the yo-yo wheels. That's where I thought that came from.
So, I'm a very proud GNS team rider from very beginning all the way to the end, and still associated with him today. I always tease and said if you ever cut me open, I'd bleed red and yellow.
Yeah, right.
But this truck, I bought it from the local. It's not even a Nissan; it's a Datsun.
Okay. Yeah. You're right. Datsun.
So the Datsun pickup truck, and it was all red. And part of my negotiation with them, is that and it was kind of like it was already set up this way, like with the wheels and the lights and the roll bar and all that kind of stuff. But so I paid the list price for it as long as they would paint the yellow panels so I could be red and yellow, and
they had no problem with that.
I had no problem with that,
Yeah.
and so that worked out. But yeah, and then that was at Mission Bay.
How much was it?
Yeah.
Gosh, back probably $5,000.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
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 I remember my brother bought a Toyota for $3,000.
Wow.
$3,995 when they first came out.
Cars were a lot less expensive back then.
Yeah, he went and bought that thing, and he drove it for like 6 years, put about 80,000 miles on it, and then he sold it for like $8,000.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of cars that you had
they
today.
went up, man. I know.
If you had them today, they'd be worth a lot.
Okay. All right. So we got the freestyle stuff, and we did really, really well with that. Freestyle's starting to fall off.
Mm-hmm.
Less contests, less everybody is doing it. So we're getting into like Home Avenue time.
Yep. So so right at that period, so I was still doing freestyle, but then now that we're starting to ride banks and some of the skate parks and Home Avenue starts, so now it's as you're saying, it's progressing into that area, and then just one thing I wanted to cover real quick about where Yo-Yo Wheels came into play, because it was right around that timeline. So after the World Masters Championship, Dave wanted to Road Riders were out at that time.
Yes.
And then on Road Riders, it was they made the twos, the fours, and maybe even the sixes or something.
Did you ever ride them?
So I rode the twos originally when they first came out, but the design of the wheel, it was
had that
sharp.
flat edge.
It was just flat like this. So what ended up happening is they would send me wheels, and okay, so the wheels were just flat, just like this. And then but when you were doing freestyle tricks, or if you were riding we had the TV on for the Padre game. We'll keep checking out the score. Oh my gosh, the Chargers! Oh, yeah. The Padres are up 7-4. That is awesome,
guys.
All right.
We got a little hyped on that one. I apologize. I just looked over at the score real quick. I was like, oh my gosh, we just went way up, man.
Bam.
Okay. Anyway,
all right.
sorry.
Back on track.
That's so rude. We're sorry out there.
That's okay.
When they watch this, they'll see who won.
Exactly.
And everybody, again, thank you for watching us destroy this whole interview right now.
No, that was fun. All right. So
this is a big thing for us.
It's a big thing in San Diego. We've
been waiting like 50 years for this. So
absolutely.
Anyway.
Okay. So back on Road Riders. So the Road Rider wheels would have a flat edge, and so they would send me the wheels, and then they would send me, like every month, they'd send me another set, thinking that I could be wearing them out. Well, I skated them every day, but I never wanted to ride the new wheels, because the more that I rode the wheel from doing freestyle tricks, it would start to round out the sides, and then even more so, I took it to the next level and put it on a hand drill, an electric drill, and then I'd spin the wheel and take sandpaper and I round off that edge, and so I showed it to Dave, and Dave showed it to Road Rider and said, hey, we want to do a Steve CATHEY signature wheel, and but we'd want to make it round. And they said, well, we'd love to do the wheel for them, but we don't want to change our molds.
Right.
So Dave said, all right. So Dave found another manufacturer in Orange County, and so they made brand new molds and the whole deal. But so really the design element, so for Yo-Yo Wheels, it was a first rounded radiused edge wheel. And it worked great for freestyle because transition from doing tricks and doing kick turns, things like that, it just was very smooth.
Yeah.
Well, and as we were starting to ride pools, of course, going up on coping as well, that was a benefit also. Mm-hmm. So it was a design idea that just kind of came into play, and it's fun too to see it today, that every wheel pretty much on the market
still has it.
They're not like this.
Yeah.
They're like that. Yeah. So that was fun. So that's really what started Yo-Yo Wheels.
And what year was that?
I would say this was probably 76.
Okay.
76, 77.
Okay.
And they're actually even redoing them. They're actually doing a remake on them finally. So that's kind
on
of
yo-yos.
Yeah. So GNS is
Are they going to come out with a roller ball?
No, the roller ball, something different. Actually, so that wasn't designed by me. It wasn't designed by GNS. In Mission Beach, Hamels.
Yeah.
Ray Hamill actually came to Larry Gordon with that design idea and paid him a royalty, and GNS did that as a GNS rollerball wheel. It wasn't a yo-yo wheel.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, so something different.
Okay. All right.
Did you ride those?
I did. It was a fun wheel to ride just because they were fast, but they would get flat spots in a minute.
Yeah.
Because there was no
the running surface was
running surface was so small.
Yeah.
But
until you warm out.
Until you warm out, exactly. But also too, when they did this wheel, when this first came out, which is fun, I actually have one set, a complete set of this. It's never been ridden, so I've got my 3 others. And but this was also, when it first came out, the idea on this is to do it 50-50.
Yeah.
So this is a harder durometer. I think this is like 92,
Okay.
and this is 88.
Okay.
So basically the idea is when you're riding straight, you're going to go faster here, but when you need to make a turn, you have a little bit more grip.
Yeah.
So it was pretty good, and so that worked out well.
I'm surprised nobody does that now.
They should. It'd be fun. There wasn't a lot, but every once in a while, the 2 urethanes would split.
Yeah.
Because one being harder and softer, because they would pour it separately. But
Really?
but that was fun. It kind of set the wheels apart.
You actually had wheels that split?
It would split because of the they would pour the urethane here first. They'd let it dry, then they put then they pour the softer urethane on top. And just because it was 2 coming together, it really did kind of create a weak point, and it could actually split. So we didn't get a lot back, but we did. I guess GNS is always good about it. If somebody their wheels split, they got a brand new set. It's good. So anyway, so that's where yo-yo wheels came into play.
Interesting. Yeah, because I read another interview. So UFO wheels back in the day, those things were double conicaled as well.
Like a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, but they were like a 45, and those things were like that wide.
They were really wide. Yeah, exactly.
But that was the only other wheel that I remember that had anything that was even close back in those days.
And it was once again, it was to compliment those guys as well. It was an advancement because, like I said, the wheels were flat.
Right.
Then they went radius, and then they took it to the next level and kind of made a conical or a 45-degree. And then they did it on both sides, and then even yo-yo, we ended up copying that design as well, and then other companies, Hobie and different people, so it became because once again, people were riding pools at that
Hobie
time.
Did it.
That's
Hobie
right.
Did one too?
Yeah.
Okay. I remember that. Was that during the Mike Weed era of wheels, or was that? But Weed came in later. Weed wheels though. That was later. That was like 78-ish.
Well, I think
79. No, because
but the
when he left Hobie, then he started his own weed company. And that's when he did those wheels.
And he did that, but I think for some reason I thought that Hobie did them as well. I thought I saw an ad with it, but
they did but see, Daryl Miller was on Hobie at that time, and that was later too. Well, that was definitely like 79.
What were those called?
Like 78, 79, 79. That was 79.
What were those called?
Claws.
There we go.
Yeah,
there we go. But the conical really came out. So if the rounded edge, so basically when yo-yos came out, they were with the radius edge. I think actually Sims was the first person to emulate the same design.
You mean like the double conical ones?
No.
Or just the flat
like the
with a round?
Juice or the no. I'm sorry. It was Bone. It was Powell. Yeah.
Oh, the first Bone.
Yeah, I don't know. Man.
Yeah. So it was before Stacy was on it.
I remember those big round. Theirs was like I don't know. Theirs was like really thick and really rounded.
It was like Sims and Powell.
Yeah, they were always working together. Yeah.
So that was actually the first company or next in line that did a radius wheel, and then all the other wheels went that, and it was really more like Spring Valley days is really when when everybody's riding pools and parks is when UFO did the conical. So it's a little bit further down the line.
Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking like when I was riding Spring Valley, I was still riding a flat back. The Sims
Pure Juice.
Wheels, and then they were like they weren't even rounded. They were kind of like the original Snake wheels.
Yeah,
like
the Sims Snake. That's right.
Yeah, the Sims Snake that had that They kind of had that edge the same as the other one we were talking about.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So a lot
that
of
was
design,
like the first time, and then they finally changed them up too. So anyway, all right. Okay, so we're at Home Avenue. We're you are resident pro, right? And working for God, what was that guy's name? He had a Cadillac. That's all I remember. Flashy guy. The Fox.
Silver Fox.
Yeah, the Silver Fox.
Silver Fox.
Okay.
And his girlfriend's name was Edie.
Yeah.
And he was just a nice guy.
Yeah.
So
he was like 55-ish.
Maybe 65-ish.
Oh, was he that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, his hair was gray and silver, and he just seemed older to us because we were young kids.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
But so at that park, so when that one first opened up, so once again in timeline, it was Carlsbad, and the next park was Home Avenue, but parks were progressing, and they were doing other snake runs and reservoirs and having some little areas that were just coming right at Bird or close to it.
Right.
So actually what happened is Ellen O'Neill lived in that area, and she actually got to know the guy that was building the park, and he actually asked myself and Ellen and Doug Saladino, Pineapple, to be the resident pros.
Okay.
And I don't know if Doug ended up being a resident pro, or actually if he ended up taking that position, or Ellen. I think I was the only one, and it's funny you think about it. It's like to be a resident pro at a park. They made flyers and said, "Here, come skate with Steve Cathy and Ellen O'Neill and Doug Saladino," and I understand the concept behind it. And they had learn from the pros, and you could take lessons, and we never gave a lesson to anybody. I mean, just like when you and I skated at the parks, if we were there just to skate, the great thing about it is being a resident pro, we actually got paid to skate.
Yeah.
And then we could get our friends jobs and, the whole deal. So it was a good setup. But really back then, we were just there to skate, to practice and have fun and do what we enjoyed. But if we would see kids, or if kids would come up to us and they'd say, "Oh, how do you do a kick turn?" or how do you carve here? Or what do I do? I mean, that was music to our ears. I mean, we wanted to help.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess it worked out in that respect. It wasn't the structured, here, sign up for a lesson and pay.
Right.
No, it just, you just skated with kids, and if kids would come up, or you would see somebody, you want to go help them out.
That was the first place I ever remember you.
At Home Avenue?
At Home Avenue.
So
you had the crew, and man, it was a big crew. I mean,
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
I mean, you guys, I was like the outsider looking in at that time, and all the GNS guys were all in red and yellow every time, or maroon and yellow, whatever you want to call it. And I just remember, Dennis would come up, Martinez would come up in his group.
Yeah.
And then Pineapple, I really just don't remember Doug. I mean, I know he was there a couple times, but
he was there with Bobby Garcia.
Okay,
primarily.
he was with Garcia.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Dennis came with David Good and Bucky Robinson.
Yep.
And there was somebody else, Mikey Lieris.
So there was Mikey Lieris, and there was Doug Marker.
Oh, Doug Marker.
Doug Marker was there, and I think he named everybody else. Ron Fletcher.
Oh,
Fletcher was there.
Okay, so I only knew him from Spring Valley.
And then Ron Higgins.
Okay,
Ron was another guy. So there was a great crew that it evolved. I mean, the greatest thing about going to a skate park is you could show up in the morning, noon, or night, and somebody would be there.
Yeah.
And it would be like if you pulled up and you started to skate and say, "Oh, awesome, Mikey's there," or Ron Fletcher's there, or David Good's there, or Doug Marker, whoever it's going to be, or Lane Oaks, and it's always a good time. It was just a great session.
I was just thinking, for me, I would show up and I would see those guys and I would be like, "Ooh, look at those guys," and for me, I was always like, "I'm going to be better than them." And the only person I ever felt that I was always chasing was Mikey.
Yeah.
Mikey destroyed that park. And, he skated with such style and fast. And, that was Mikey, man. And that's the one guy that I always, when I saw him, I was like, I got to beat him. That's the guy,
Well, he
was touchable for me.
Yeah.
But he was also so rad. So.
And he was the kind of guy that, as they always say, he let his skating do his talking.
Yeah.
You know, like he was a quiet guy, quiet kid, but just he had more different lines than anybody else, would skate faster than everybody else, did great lip slides around the little bowls, great style. And he was just, and everybody progressed from there. But Dave, I got to tell you, it was, you know, I mean, you're born and raised in San Diego. You're with all the other skaters. You've talked about how you went to Carlsbad, and you talked about being at Home Avenue, and you know, always seeing the GNS crew. And Dave, I've always felt that you
I know
were
it's coming.
you were the guy that, and I say this in all in compliments. You were the shoulda, woulda, coulda guy that could have been and should have been on GNS. But on the other hand, too, Dave, you know, if you would have back then, if you would have been on GNS, then you might have taken us out. I mean, you might have, you know. So I don't know. I mean, it's because you were such a great skater back then, you know. But we had, you know, we had a big team. Yeah. You know, we had, you know, with Stacy and Doug and Dennis and myself and Ellen O'Neill and Henry Hester and you know, the rest of the guys. It was a pretty full team, and I think, you know, it was hard for Dave McIntyre to go, oh gosh, okay, bring one more guy on again. But out of anybody, any other team rider, anybody else, I always felt you are a San Diego true.
Man, that was GNS. I had GNS surfboards, GNS, everything. So, I even ended up working with you at GNS.
You were a sales rep for GNS with me. You're absolutely right. So here's the great thing. Yeah. You don't know this, but so I had a meeting with Debbie Gordon the other day. Okay. And so
I got to go see her.
You need to go see her.
We're going to go do this.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I had a meeting with Debbie. We were talking about you. Mm-hmm. We were talking about how you should have been on GNS. And so, we're 40 years ago?
45.
All right.
Whatever.
So
43.
So I have something here that I wanted to. So there's a couple of.
A team rider shirt?
No, but a couple things here. Okay. So we talked about this. So and Dave, you know what? I feel badly too because you and I skated Spring Valley forever together. Yeah. And you asked me one time. You said, Steve, you gave yo-yos to everybody. Yeah. T-shirts, hats, stickers, wheels. Yeah. But you never gave a set to me.
I bought mine.
And you
just to try and be like, okay, I'm going to support them and buy my first set of yo-yos.
So, and Dave, here you and I have been best friends forever. Yeah. And back in the day, you deserved wheels more than anybody else, and I never gave you a set. Yeah. So Debbie,
I could never figure it out.
So I was telling you that Yo-Yo Wheels is coming out with a reissue. These are the first ones off production. They haven't even been shipped yet. The very, very first set of reissued Yo-Yo Wheels goes to Dave Andrix.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to thank Debbie.
You're going to thank Debbie.
This is unreal. Yeah.
So there's more.
Because I bought these when I was back in the day.
So I didn't have a board to give you, but I wish I could have given you a board back in the day, but I do have a signature.
Did you guys redo these?
They redid those as well. So it was my signature board sticker.
Awesome.
So I got that for you.
Awesome. Man, this is like better than Christmas.
Oh, this is what. So that was a difference. I got to tell everybody. And you knew this as well. To get on GNS, it was like Christmas. You go down to the warehouse, you would open up a couple big boxes and go up and down the aisles, and you got all the boards, all the decks, all the wheels, shoes, socks.
You've gone clothes,
board shorts, clothing,
everything.
And it would just, thousands of dollars worth of stuff.
Easy.
All the time. So, so we also wanted to give you an official GNS hat. I mean, awesome, you wouldn't be a GNS guy without a GNS hat.
All right,
and but the most special out of all this, so you are now officially on
the
GNS team rider. God. So it's on a. So Dave, that's
all right. I'm gonna wear this now.
Congratulations!
I'm gonna do it.
It only took 40+ years.
All right, I can't wait.
But you are an official GNS team rider.
Go, man.
So shoulda, woulda guy, coulda guy that should have been there forever.
Man, that is absolutely awesome, Steve. Thank you so much.
Well, that meant a lot to all of us.
I'm new sponsored guy. I hope everybody voted me on.
Well, you got voted on with me and with Debbie. Debbie's the boss.
Yeah.
Debbie's
Hey,
in charge.
you know what?
Debbie
Yeah.
Gordon, Eric Gordon, they both said, gosh, Dave Andrick, 100%.
Eric too?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome,
Absolutely.
man. Well, I can't wait. I'm going to go down there here real quick.
Yeah.
And we're going to do a thing on their new facility that they just built.
Oh, that's
with all their production and stuff for skateboards and stuff. And, try and, just show the world what's going on down there too,
She gave me a quick little tour, and it was awesome. They're actually redoing the Fiberflex boards.
Right
and,
now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So I got a mole down there.
Yeah.
He actually runs the wood shop for Debbie. He's a good friend of mine.
And who is this?
Cam.
Oh, at Cam.
Yeah.
And so I met him for the first time at in Ocean Beach at the
okay.
At the,
okay, right. That's right.
So he was there.
Right, at Hess Beer.
At Hess Beer.
Michael Hess
Beer in Ocean Beach.
That's right.
Awesome.
Yeah. No, yeah. Cam
He's a good guy.
He rips. That kid can
you were
skate.
telling me that. That's right.
That guy can skate.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great vert skater and just a super good kid, man. Like, I met him 2 years ago.
Right.
When he first came out here. He was living at a buddy's place. So, anyway.
So, and then actually the coolest thing is I followed him on Facebook, and he had posted a couple of pictures, and then he had another picture. I thought this was the coolest. So the Padre colors, we keep talking about the Padres, but as we keep glancing up at the screen. But Debbie and Eric Gordon came up with GNS T-shirts that have always been like white T-shirts with a red, red and white logo. Well, they did them in Padre colors. They did a brown T-shirt in the yellow with the logo. So it's Padres GNS.
Awesome! I'm gonna have to go down there and get one of those now.
Yeah, they have them.
Go to the store and buy one.
Exactly. No. Debbie's you're a team writer now.
Yeah, that's
Dave.
right.
You go down and get all set up.
You sit there.
Get a box.
Yeah, right.
You bring a shopping cart.
Yeah. I mean, no, he's not kidding. That's how GNS was back then. I saw it, and I was just like, and then I remember, when I was working there, I was like, can I have a watch to that Sharon, whatever?
Yes.
And she's like, Sharon Turner.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're going to pay $14 for it. I was like, oh, okay. She only likes Scotty. Anyway.
Scott Lehman. Well, you know what? I do have to say, without just one more shout out for GNS, but it was. I mean, it was such a blessing, such a great thing to be on GNS, and I mean, it wasn't just getting all the free product. I mean, but it wasn't the first time. You go in the second time, third time, fourth time, and you just whatever you needed, you just went to the warehouse and you just loaded stuff up.
Yeah,
and it was fun, so. But GNS was with Larry and Larry Gordon and Gail Gordon and the rest of the family, and then all the people that work there. Sales managers, Mike Gallagher, Paul Newkirk prior to that, and but you know what? The great thing about GNS is we had we got royalties off wheels and off boards and different things, and they paid us. They always paid us. They paid us on time. They expense paid trips to travel, to do demos, things like that. They were always, if you got pictures in the magazine, then right away you got paid for those photos. And
man,
they were great. I'm sure every company did that as well. But no, I'm touting GNS because from my understanding, GNS, they did it. They ran it like a professional company, and they did it.
Yeah, no, that's not how man. I was lucky to get one board a month. Sims.
Wow.
And I would show up to contests and the noses would be broken off and everything would be broken. They'd be like, give Hendrick another board. Be like, oh, hey, thanks. And I'd always have a brand new board because I'd get one there.
Yep.
So that means I got 1.5 or 2 boards a month. So every month. And that's all, other than getting your team shirts for the first time.
Yeah.
After that, man, nothing. I got nothing. Hey, can I get some wheels? And then I remember all I got was a box a couple months in a row, and my wheels were shot. So then I started riding not crypto. Started riding gyros because I got them.
Oh, right.
Somebody else gave me some gyros, and I just rode wings. Mike Williams would give me wings wheels and say, "Hendrick, sure, ride these." I was like, okay, I'll ride those because that's it, man. I got 2 boards, and I never got paid. Royalties on any of my boards. Maybe I had 2 checks that were over my minimum, and in 2.5 years,
they sold thousands of your boards.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was that. That's why when you say, oh, you know, Sims or writing for GNS probably wouldn't have been the best for you. I'm just thinking like,
No, it would have
yeah,
been.
right. I don't think so. But anyway, that's a whole nother story.
Well, good times, and glad you're an official GNS team
That's
rider
right,
now.
man. Okay,
There
I
you
can
go.
say I'm official. Yeah, that's awesome. I really do appreciate that, man. From the heart, that was killer.
Awesome.
Especially, yeah, because I know, man. Like, I can't tell you how many times I would just go to the park with Lane and cry to Wayne, like, how come you won't put me on the team? Here's why I wanted to get on yo-yo back then. Okay,
Yeah.
Was because you set it up. Somebody set it up where you got to skate for free.
Right.
If you rode for yo-yos.
Sure.
And I had to pay my money every time. So I had my paper out. I'd go every day. I'd go collect from one account, get my money to go to skating.
Oh,
and that was it.
Never knew that.
So yeah, so that was the whole reason why I wanted to skate. And then that's what I do. I went and got a job at Spring Valley Skate Park.
Yeah.
And once I got that, I got to skate for free. And I didn't pay for it anymore. So anyway,
you had keys to the park.
I did.
Yeah.
Man. I got keys to the park and had a lot of late night sessions.
Absolutely.
That was after everybody kind of moved to Oasis at that point.
Isn't that amazing how everything went, you know, Carlsbad, Home Avenue, Spring Valley, and then onto Oasis, and then onto Del Mar. It just, you know, just in parks in
El Cajon and La Mesa pretty much got left out of it. But those parks
were both great parks.
Really like those things?
So I
got killed in, I think it was La Mesa I got killed in. The half pipe was so straight down, man. You go 90 miles an hour before you, like when you hit the first wall, you drop in and you're just like, oh.
So, you know, it's interesting, Dave. When we started skating different parks, it's funny. I don't remember Skateboard Heaven or Spring Valley. We rode everything in the park.
Oh, yeah, man, we did.
I mean,
Wild Toads, man. That's all I can say.
Wild Toads, Wild Rider, whatever it was. And you had a whole route. It was like early days of a pump track. You pushed once, and you just pumped your way through the entire park.
Yeah.
El Cajon, I think I just skated it once or twice. With Lane.
Yeah. Lane
skated it all the time.
Okay.
And then La Mesa.
That's Spring Valley, yeah.
So that's Spring Valley.
Yeah.
And then
I still say it wasn't a better park for learning and training. You know, a better park than that right there. Anywhere. I mean, the only other
in the parking lot.
Yeah, my bug is too.
Your truck
and my bug. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we were there.
Yeah.
Wasn't that Lane's VW bus?
No, that was
Jim Alisi.
Alisi's, yeah.
Jim and Mike Alisi.
That was Alisi's, man.
Yep.
And he was another guy that worked there too.
Yeah.
After a while. So anyway, but like Winchester had another, like that washboard thing that they had there was incredible to skate and learn tricks. And I can see why like little Stevie got where he was, because that
good parks make good riders.
Yeah. Good parks make good riders. That's right. So anyway, and it also keeps you busy and makes money.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the bad parks, man, like I mean, Lane told me that El Cajon had been there for like 2 years before it closed. And I skated it maybe once or twice just to go out there. La Mesa was so dangerous. I skated it one time and I was like, I'm never coming back to that.
So did you ride the pool though?
Yeah, the pool
was nice. I mean, it was smooth.
But it was like Vista, that coping stuck out a mile.
Way too much.
And there was no backing.
That's right.
There was no backing.
Oh, that's right. So you can't do a roll. Well, we weren't doing rollouts back then.
Yeah, we were.
Were we?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why we didn't do a rollout on that pool.
You could. Well, I mean, you just had to do it on the coping, just like Del Mar before it had the, you know, the backing on it. I was doing rollouts in the contest. That's where I got in trouble with why I never got it covered. But that's me.
Yeah,
that's
another day.
Deal. That's another day. Anyway, okay, so I'm just kind of like I haven't been really going off my notes very well today. So we're just talking too much about good old times. Exactly. Well, you know, like you said, we hung out, we surfed, we did a lot of trips together to the river. We had a lot of fun back then. So it's kind of like
we did life, not just skateboarding. You know, I mean, it's you know, we had you know, girlfriends that knew each other. We had you know, like I said, going to the river or going surfing or just hanging out or you know, whatever. So it was good times.
We did a lot. Yeah. Okay, so let's give some props real quick to your sponsors. Okay. We had, I mean, you were sponsored by like everybody, everything. Okay. So, okay, obviously Gordon Smith was the one. Then, yeah, ACS was another one that you were sponsored
So real
by.
quick with this photo up, so that's a park we were just talking about. That's La Mesa.
Okay, that's La Mesa.
So that's actually La Mesa. So sponsor wise, I'm just going off what I'm seeing in the photo there. So ACS,
right.
Yo-Yo Wheels, Gordon Smith, and then probably I think even the pads I think were. So those are actually Norcon.
Norcons, yeah.
But the other photo I think was Pepsi pads or something.
Right.
For Pepsi.
There's Rector.
Oh, there's
sponsored the Rector.
Yeah. There's myself and Ellen O'Neill.
Yeah.
And
back
then
over to the Pro Light.
So Pro Line.
Okay, Pro Line.
So I'll share a quick story about this. So I went from having a signature freestyle board,
right,
to and then having Yo-Yo Wheels. But then when we started riding pools and parks and pipes and everything else, Dave wanted to give me a signature deck.
Right.
And Stacy had his, and some of the Pineapple and Dennis and yourself and everybody else had signature boards. And when Dave said, "Hey, we want to go ahead and give you a signature board," I don't know why. I just felt I wanted to do it differently. So when they did the so it was a Pro Line SC.
Right.
And it's also originally they had the side cut. That was I did a design element with that. But my choice is I said, well, I want to do this, but I don't want to do a signature board. And so I think it actually sold better that way.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
But they did 4 different sizes.
Smart marketing.
It was just kind of one of those things. It's like it went from no signature boards to everybody having a signature board to kind of go, well, maybe I won't do a signature board. It wasn't like I was that smart in marketing. It just seemed like it was something new to do.
Right.
And so that was fun. And then 360 was a sportswear company that it was probably one of the first companies to actually make skateboard apparel.
Right.
And that was done by remember John Barron.
Yep.
So John Barron was from San Diego.
Yeah.
They made that that clothing line. It didn't sell in surf shops or skate shops. They had it actually for mass market for like J.C. Penney's.
Okay.
And
interesting.
Yeah. So it was.
I love this ad.
So thank you. That was Dave. You had made a comment about when you were at Big O and you weren't feeling well. And anyway, so I got called from the ad agency to come down to do this ad. It's all created in the studio. It just had a black backdrop. Basically, I'm just crouching down for the photo, just for the effect. They called me in. I had 105 temperature. I had the flu. I was feeling horrible.
Yeah.
And but they had to get it shot that day. But every time I see that picture, I love the ad and I love the colors and the logo and everything else. But all I remember when I see that ad is I go, oh God, I was so sick.
Yeah, man.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
That's insane. Okay, so.
Wait, we got one.
Oh yeah. I remember this.
So that was, I guess, 2 things here. So when you and I would ride parks, and riding pools, and if I'm thinking, not so much on my side, but I think of yourself. I think of Dennis Martinez. I think of some of the other guys, Dave Hackett, that basically could just tear the coping apart on a frontside grind. Sometimes you hit it so hard it would spark.
Right.
And
you hit your kingpin.
Yeah, you hit the kingpin,
and that would spark it.
And that would spark it. So then we kind of went in the next transition, and I wasn't the only one, but we would drill holes in your trucks, put flints in there.
I still have mine.
There you go. And that was awesome, because we ride in Spring Valley at night, and you go to a frontside grind, you'd spark, and people would just freak out. So somebody came to GNS and had an idea of putting like these flints on the back of your wheel or the back of your trucks. So when you're actually riding, it would kind of drag along, and it would make sparks. They were called speed sparks. I don't know. They asked me to do the ad. I was probably the only guy that said okay. But that's where that one came from. So.
All right, then we're big Vans guy, big Vans follower at that time.
So yes, but not yet.
Yeah. Okay.
So
all right.
Okay. It's so weird, Dave, because I collect nothing.
Yeah.
Why I had all these shoes, I have no idea. But from if it was freestyle skating, not so much in the pools and parks. This was La Costa days. You're making kick turns and you're dragging your foot. And so
board with risers.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that board had riser pads. But so you're seeing the shoe there. My socks are showing because it, you wear out the shoes.
Right.
So, but the shoes, all those ones are lined up. They're the same shoe, and there weren't even like heads, or they weren't even, they were from Payless.
Yeah.
Because they were like $5.
Yeah.
And I was paying my own shoes at the time. So, but those things, they had a really soft gum rubber bottom.
Yep.
You had a really good feel for your board. So anyways, my favorite shoe to wear, but they would literally last like a week or two.
Yeah.
And that was about it. So I don't know, for some reason, Warren Bolster asked me to bring them up and took that photo.
That was a classic picture, though.
So it was kind of fun. So
I just remember going to, there was a Vans outlet in PB.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to go in there and get quote unquote seconds
Right.
for like $9 a pair. So I would go in there and buy them when they had them.
Yeah.
And get 2 or 3 pairs, and then I'd be good for about a month or two. It just depended what I was trying to learn at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't do all the freestyle that you did. I was in one freestyle contest and got 3rd, and that was it. That was amateur.
Yeah. Well,
never took it any further than that.
The great thing about Vans is that, definitely, once I stopped wearing those shoes, it's I think really what it was is because GNS. So really, my introduction to Vans, is GNS was Vans sponsored GNS or provided let me back up.
You guys had like a team shoe, yeah.
So Vans made a red and yellow shoe,
right?
And so I don't think Vans sponsored us. I think what it was is GNS just ordered shoes for all the team riders. So once again, David, you would have been riding for GNS. You would have had red and yellow Vans.
Right.
You wouldn't have had to go to PB to pay for them. But definitely going to Vans, then those things would last 3 months.
At that time, Vans, you could do any color palette that you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they don't do that.
No, they do it again. They're doing some special. Yeah, they're doing it
and
right
if they
now.
didn't, they should, and that's awesome.
No, they're still doing it. I saw an ad in it not too long ago that they were still doing, like you could call up and tell them what you wanted, and they would make them for you.
Well, and that so even the red and yellow shoes that GNS did, that was a custom shoe. But that is awesome, and I know a lot of because a lot of the guys, a lot of the Dogtown guys,
they always had their blue ones.
Yeah, they had their own design, But I do remember that. I think I did do that. I think I did go into Vans once or twice and order a custom. You could. There was different, panels on, 6 different panels on the shoe. You could have different colors of every one. But
and also canvas.
Yeah.
Different styles of canvas.
But that is awesome. Vans has been such a great supporter of skateboarding all the way from back then to where they are today.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Vans fully supported skateboarding, all of us, for 40 years, and I think that's part of the secret why they are so successful and still so strong in the industry, because they take care of the pros and they take care of the image that brought them where they are, where guys like Quicksilver and stuff, they got rid of Tony Hawk, they got rid of like Kelly Slater. Like, how do you get rid of the hitters like that,
you can't do that.
and then think you're going to keep selling a ton of clothes? And it's amazing to me that they pulled that and they did that.
And not to discredit any of the companies, but I think what you're pointing out too, Dave, is you have to have the combination of, the skaters kind of help carry the company.
Absolutely, 100%.
Without the skaters, the company's on its own, and the company didn't get to where they were without
the skaters the athletes. Exactly, yep. It's the athletes, because ever since those guys pulled the plug on that, they went down.
Yeah,
that's 100%. Just all there was to it, and they just keep borrowing money.
Yeah,
it's the American way.
The American way.
Borrow money, go in more debt, and then never mind. Whatever, whatever, man. So anyway, okay. So let's see. Okay, so we're still talking Spring Valley. Sorry, everybody, about Spring Valley, but I wanted to go back because Stephen Lane, you guys, Spring Valley First Pro Contest Tester Series.
Yep.
You guys wrapped it up pretty good. You had a really great contest there.
Well, it was, and my understanding, that was the first pool contest,
right?
And it happened to be at our home park. I think, to be fair, I think we probably, all of us, spent more time riding Spring Valley than any skate park.
Yes.
I mean, it was kind of like, I was saying La Costa, you know, you'd be there at 8 in the morning and leave at 6 at night, but that was just on Sunday.
Yeah.
This, I mean, morning, noon, and night, every single day that you had available.
I was there.
Yeah. I mean, we
was
lived
there Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, Monday through Sunday, every day.
Exactly.
So,
and having so much of variety, you know, the Clover Bowl, the Reservoir, the Soul Bowl, the pool, the snake run with Oververt.
Yeah.
So, but so it was a perfect venue, even though it was just in the pool, but it was a perfect venue to have the first, you know, Hester Series event. And it was great being in San Diego. And I say this out of respect for everybody and confidence, I guess, that, you know, if it was Doug or Dennis or myself or you, we all, and Lane and Doug Marker and, you know, all the local guys, because it was our local park, our home team advantage, we all felt that if we did our winning run, we would win. I mean, we all skated to win. We all skated, you know, we were proud of that park. We were proud of San Diego. We were proud of being down south. And you know, so, but truthfully, I think as far as, I'll make a comment on this. So at the contest, you know, there's the red and yellow bands, there's the matching socks, the matching outfit, the matching custom airbrushed helmet. Yeah. You know, Dennis and
Norcal helmet.
Yeah.
Then I had custom airbrushed to match everything else. It was, you know, different place, different time. Back in the 70s, to actually match was kind of a cool thing. To match today isn't so cool. But, you know, and then Dennis and Doug, I mean, they dialed their, you know, outfits or apparel together. And actually, I was just noticing Lane Oaks is standing right behind me.
Yeah,
he was in his bonsai.
Yep,
his bonsai stuff.
See it.
But
and I just look at that like, you know, we were all, that was kind of a team uniform right there.
Yeah,
you know, like that's how you're dressed. And Lane was in his with the bonsai, the embroidered collared shirt that he always wore.
Yeah,
him and Leilani. Yeah, Leilani always wore white, if I remember right. Yeah. I don't, you know, and then, you know, but everybody back then wore a uniform sort of thing, like team guys, you know what I mean? So that was always cool. But
so what's kind of interesting about that, Dave, is that, you know, when I was mentioning from the very beginning that, you know, I tried baseball, I tried football, I tried other team sports, and it just wasn't for me. I get introduced to skateboarding and to surfing, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, these are individual sports.
That's right.
And that's where we all excelled and had fun, and that was, okay, we found our calling of what we could do. The funny part about it is the 70s, when you got on a team, you had like, it was just, it's funny to look back now. We were all proud of it because, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, I got my warm-up suit and I got my team colors and I got my team jacket and I got my team shorts and shirts. And well, it was good back then. Yeah. And same thing today. It would be pretty silly to see somebody in a everybody have the same team.
I think it'd be awesome.
It'd be a good remake.
So retro and cool.
It would be retro.
It wouldn't even be funny.
Exactly.
Especially if you had the right guys, the right team guys too. Yeah. You know.
Well, there's no incentive.
You know,
the contests don't have anything for the manufacturer.
You know what? We should call up and see if we could get a retro contest where everybody has to wear their team colors. Because I think, I mean,
that would be awesome.
And if you think about it, you know, and have a retro contest, like, okay, I mean, they did that, and it was really cool. I don't remember. Do you remember that when they did the retro contest a couple of years ago? Everybody had to wear 70s or 80s clothes.
Oh, I didn't. That would have been fun.
They wore all that stuff. I think it was an HP. Yeah. But anyway, so they were all riding the same old boards and shapes and wheels and everything else, man. And people had a riot. They had so much fun.
That would be great. Actually, with the El Gato Classic coming up, that would be a perfect time because it's a Legends event, and they could have even had like a separate, you know, a little segment of that and saying, okay, everybody's got to break out their old signature boards and their wheels and their shirts and everything. And
I might just do. I mean, I brought mine a couple of years ago, but I didn't do it the last time because my nose got smacked and I was bummed. Okay. I'm going to do that. Actually, you know what, Steve? I'm going to bring an old original Landrecht.
There you go.
I have a board that's set up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring that thing.
Now. And you got yo-yo wheels now.
No, I was going to ride those purple ones that I had, the purple snakes on there. Yeah. I don't want to wreck those. No, I'm going to put this on my pump track board, actually. So when we go skate the pump track next,
That would be awesome.
I'll be riding these wheels.
Dave, was your board 11 inches wide?
11 inches.
11 inches. That was a wide board for back then.
That was wider than just about everybody else's. The only one that was wider was the Bigfoot by Wes Humpston's board.
12 inches.
It is 12, man. Yeah.
That was a big board.
I don't even know. Or maybe Ayers might have had a 11 inch or 12 inch board. He might have had the 12 inch. At some point.
Well, I know. So I do know that Wes had the 12 inch for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, that's coming close to Lonnie Toff's. Board.
His 8-wheeler exactly.
Yeah. So that's pretty fun. But but going back on Spring Valley, it was at that contest. It was great because it brought. So we had all of us as far as the core team from San Diego and the locals at Spring Valley, but then it brought the guys from Northern California, the guys from Badlands, and I, it's interesting. I know we had this in conversation. Maybe practice sessions, maybe some of the Dogtown guys came down, but for some reason, I remember talking to Dave Hackett about it, and I don't know if they were on a demo or they were out of the country or something. But I think Shogo was the only guy that represented Dogtown. But I don't think Tony Alba was there or Jay or
no, I don't think those guys were there. So, I think they went up to. I was told that they all went up to the next contest.
No, that was a
San Francisco, wasn't it?
Cow Palace was a contest, but that wasn't the same time.
No, it wasn't the same time. Those guys went up to. Oh my God, the one where Lonnie Hiramoto won it, and that's where all the Dogtown guys went to that one contest. But Montebello. So, yes.
Gosh, why would somebody do a contest at the same time? At the Hester.
No, it wasn't at the same time. It was the next contest. They just didn't go. They just didn't go to Spring Valley.
They just didn't go to Spring Valley.
They didn't go to Spring Valley.
Got it.
From what I understand too, is they were actually at Spring Valley like 2 weeks before practicing and skating the park and stuff. I have my own story for that one, but anyway.
So I have a bring up a little skate history here. Did you know that Steve Alba rode for GNS at the beginning of that contest?
Yeah.
So I always thought that was cool, and it was fun because he and if you remember, so the contest was on we had practice sessions ahead of time,
right?
And then we had a rain delay for a week, and but Steve Alba came down, and that's the first time I actually met Steve. He actually had an apartment at the time, and Steve and a couple other guys, they all stayed with us, and so it was fun. So here he was.
Oh yeah, right.
GNS.
Salva, my Salva shirt, man.
Nice.
Salva's shirt. You guys go to his website, check out all his boards. They're all custom. He made them all. They're pretty cool. I actually just saw them all at the SkaterCon this last weekend. So I picked up my my Alba shirt. So
and there's a few skaters, Dave, that Steve's another one, Steve Alba, that and Tony Alba. But I mean, basically, started skating and's never quit.
Yeah,
and it's just and skates, as hard and aggressive and with passion as they do today as they did when they first started.
Yeah.
And and it's interesting too. It's and like I said, it's there were so many guys that were qualified to and could have won that contest. Steve Alba rightfully did win that contest. I want to give props to his dad.
Yeah.
His dad was kind of like his silent coach basically.
Yeah.
And maybe between Steve, but I think really his dad. We had no idea, how the judging was going to work or how they were going to do it. We were there, we were all practicing our lines, but we'd go in and do all of our tricks and then come out and it's like, okay, that's what we're going to be judged on. That's just what we figured what it was. But so Steve Alba did two things. He had a great line, but he also stayed in longer than everybody else because either he knew or his dad helped him.
He was a machine, man.
He was a machine.
He was a machine, Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it may have been his dad, so he was the sharp one. He was the smart one to realize that
how the game played,
because you got scored on every single trick that you did. So if you and I did our run and we had, 15 different tricks, we got scored on 15 tricks. Right. If Steve stayed in there with, and did 20 or 25, I made it a lot better.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
so, but so although I'm saying that because we all learned that that's where they judged it, Steve would have still won anyway. Didn't matter. He had a winning run. You know, he you know, so he did great. But it was interesting. I didn't learn that until years after that's the way, you know, the way they judged it. You know, because if we all would have known that, we all would have done.
Absolutely. Everybody would have done the same thing.
Oh yeah, we would have been there for 4 minutes. 48 tricks. Yeah. Kick turn, kick turn, kick turn, kick turn.
You know, it's funny because at Lakewood contest,
Okay.
Steve and I were in the finals, okay? And we were the only ones that worked the whole pipe all the way, went all the way around the back, came back up, and then worked all the way back to the front of it. I did it just because I liked skating, because back in the end, it was like, I don't know, 14 feet, 13
A lot of vert.
Yeah. At the very end of that pipe, and then it dumped out, and then it came back. I had no idea, okay? But I think I don't know, man. He and I were the only ones that did it, so we got first and second.
There you go.
So anyway, that was a fun contest.
Well, and I think it was you know, once again the first, you know, so at that point, you know, it was the contests were progressing. People were learning how to skate based on what the judges were looking for.
Right.
You know, back in the early day at the Hester, it was just we were just all there to skate.
Yeah.
And show our best run.
Right.
You know.
We all wanted to rip.
Oh, absolutely.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was the bottom line.
Yeah, exactly.
So I get it.
So
man.
good times at Spring Valley.
Yep, that's right. It was a heck of a lot of fun. Okay, so yeah, because I think after the second or the third contest, the fourth contest was at Big O on Hester 1.
Yeah.
You were in ninth place. I think you were tied for 9th overall
Going in
to the finals at Big O. Yeah, I can't see it, but so 9th or 10th, you were tied with somebody, 10th place. Oh, on that one overall?
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
okay. So is this what contest is that from?
That's actually overall for the first
Oh, this
3
is
contests,
overall.
I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I believe the very first contest at Spring Valley, I think I got 8th place,
Yep.
something like that.
You got 8, you got 3rd, and you got 1st.
Well, no. So different things.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So,
different things.
Oh no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in that contest, yeah. So in the pool, I got 8th.
Right.
In doing the doubles with Lane Oaks, we were the first guys that
Yep.
crisscrossed like this, and we got first. We won.
First place.
So that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then the one wheelers, I got 3rd.
Right.
And there was a fun story behind that because it was, and I forgive me because I don't remember the numbers exactly, but basically, so everybody they entered the event, and I think what it was is so let's say I got everybody was doing backside, and for some reason I was better doing front side, so I all mine were front side grinds, so they counted as a one wheeler. So I did. So let's say if I got 20. And then Doug Marker got, let's say, 23.
Yeah.
And then, but
he told this story.
Oh, we did. Okay. So, but I
I
want
know
to
where it's going.
but I want to give credit to Doug because I've had people ask me about this
keep
before.
telling the story.
All
Keep
right.
telling the story.
So if I got 20, then Doug got 23, and then, but I was tied for 20, so we had to do a runoff.
Right.
So then I went again, and I got, let's say, 27.
Right.
So yes, I got more than Doug, but the truth be told, Doug didn't get a chance to do a second run.
Right.
If he would have gone, he was just a machine.
Yeah.
He would have got 37. So he still won.
He's still a machine.
Yeah, he's still skating every day.
Absolutely.
So-
Yeah, another guy that just is, with his road show and those guys have skated 100 parks, 100 sessions.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
100 different sessions all over, man.
We'll be showing that next week.
Yeah.
There you go.
I went down and shot it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I've only gone. I feel bad because I probably went I went to the early ones, when he first started them and stuff, and then he kind of laid off for a little while, and then he started back up again, and I haven't been back since. And I was going to go to his last one, but SkaterCon was happening, and I went to that instead of going to his road show. Sorry, Doug.
Sorry, Doug.
But
One thing I want to make a comment on was that actually Spring Valley was the last contest that I actually competed in.
Okay.
The one and only. So I skated that contest. And Dave, I don't remember. I thought the next one, because I remember we flew up to it.
Yeah.
So it was. I thought it was like Milpitas or something. It was somewhere in Northern California. Was the next, not Winchester, I don't think, but anyways, it was. So the second Hester was there.
Okay.
And so I didn't skate that one. So I went up that one. I didn't feel well, so I didn't skate it. It was a great park. I just wasn't up to skate. And then the third one, I don't even know what it was, but it's just
okay, because after 40 years, it's okay to forget this stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
We've already determined that. My first show.
There we go.
And if you listen to Billy, you listen to Dennis, that
everybody has a different story.
Everybody's like, no. Everybody's like, I don't remember. So we just figured after 40 years, it's okay if we don't remember everything.
But one of the in the first Hester series,
right?
Wasn't one of them Upland?
No,
not at all.
No, Upland came in Hester 2.
Oh, in Hester 2.
Hester 2 was the first one on the Upland side.
Oh, first one. Okay.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I skated the Spring Valley, and then the other ones in the Hester series the first version, Hester 1. I didn't skate in the other.
Montebello was another one.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the Northern California one.
Okay. So I didn't skate.
Well, that's L.A.
That's LA is Montebello. No, it was like Winchester or Milpitas or something. But I didn't skate in the other ones. But all I remember, Dave, honestly, is so the Hester number 2. Then I thought, okay, well, I'll go to the Upland one, because we had all skated Upland and before the combi pool was built, and riding the pipe and riding the big bowl and all that, and it had a great bank, and that place was awesome. That's where we saw Doug Schneider do the first roll-ins and the whole deal. And but then when they actually built the combi pool, I decided to skate that contest, and I remember going up to the practice sessions, the first time I'd ever skated that pool, and I felt like I went. Skateboarding had advanced to here, and I was way down here, and I remember dropping into the bowl, and I could barely even hit tile, and I just went, I'm done. Because now I'm starting to see, the next generation. If it was, it was a lot. You were still skating
Alba.
strong, and Alba, and everything. So a lot of the other guys were still progressing, but then we're just starting to see some of the amateur guys. If it was Chris Miller and
Neil Blender,
and Billy Ruff and Christian and Tony Hawk and I'm just watching these guys do tricks, and I'm going, I have no desire to do what they're doing. It's time for me to call it a day. Yeah. So I stopped competitive skating at 21.
Yeah.
And
that's when I quit.
Yeah, there we go.
Skate parks ended.
You got to know when to jump off.
Yeah, well,
absolutely.
I could say I remember the day I had that same
experience.
Yeah, I was at Del Mar, and Tony Hawk did a backside air finger flip. Yeah, made it on his third try, and I was like, I can never flip my board. It's 11 inches wide. I could never do that.
Really slow.
Like, how do I do that? So that's when I said, all right, I'm done. And well, that wasn't real. I mean, that's when I was thinking, like, that's the time. But it was just the fact that I never got. I was Simpson sold to Dorfman. Yeah, Dorfman had it. Mm-hmm. Never sent me a skateboard, and he sold my boards for 2 years or so. And I never, he wouldn't even take my phone call. And I was just like, dude, whatever, man. That's what forced me into retirement. Yeah. So, but it was all good.
It is interesting because you ask great questions. How did you get started in skating? And then part, a lot of times you'll ask guys, when did it happen, or how did it end? Yeah. In that respect. But it's But, and then you give a lot of props to the guys, like I said, with Steve Alba and Tony Alba and some of the other guys that have never stopped. Yeah. And
man. And the thing that kills me about it is this, okay? Like, I'll give Doug Saldino, I'll give Pine. Yep. When I saw him like 3 years ago, okay, skating, breaks his femur. Ooh. Remember that? Yes. And I was just like, man, I am not doing that. Yeah. Like, I don't want to feel that pain. Oh. That's why. And it was that same year I fell 3 times so hard because I was making my comeback. I was getting my little airs back and getting my tricks back, and I slammed 3 times so hard. that I was like, I didn't break anything somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but that's when I was just like, I'm going to stick to mini ramps and pump tracks and skating street, goofing around.
Yeah.
You know,
Just having fun.
There's a really fun little slappy place down in OB or down by Point Loma, man. There's like, it's just a school with tons of curbs everywhere.
Right.
And so I went down there and screwed around, but it's so hard on my knees. I can't do that either. So anyway, okay. So let's see, where are we? Newark. That's the contest
Newark.
you're talking about.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And I didn't skate that one. Oh my gosh, we're watching the Padre game again.
No, we're not.
Well, we see it on the screen up here. I'm sorry, you guys. Holy cow! San Diego 8, Philadelphia 4.
There we go,
awesome.
Man.
Go Padres.
Go Pods. Anyway, okay, so like I said, it was Newark, that Northern Cal that you went up to.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Okay,
so I did go, didn't skate it, and I was called it a day.
Okay, because that's where on our picture 24.
Yeah.
Yep.
That one is. I saw the names and stuff, and then I was like going, okay, he's gone here. Where'd Steve go?
Yeah.
You know?
It's called not competing.
It didn't compete. Okay. All right, because I think you even had a picture. There was something from it, of it, but I don't know. Maybe I could be mistaken. But okay, so we get
this is the skateboard pole.
Okay. Oh, that skateboard pole? No,
Yeah,
because
that's the pole.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, we didn't have I don't know where the results were.
Okay, so the skateboard pole.
Maybe Di Dudson had it. Remember, she had everything in the skateboard review.
Yeah.
She would have. It would be in there somewhere.
Absolutely. Okay. You know what? I should have asked her, but anyway.
So what was? I didn't understand what this was.
Oh, this right here is the pole. Remember the
original skateboard pole?
The rider's pole, like where the kids thought you were.
Oh, that's right. The kids who read the magazine.
Yes,
they would fill out a form and vote for.
Exactly. Yes,
okay.
This was all the points.
Okay. Did I make the list?
Yeah, of course you did, man.
Yeah,
of course you did.
On there. That's awesome.
You have 1,273 points.
Was that?
Oh my gosh! I just thought of something.
Was that okay? Is that Pete? Is that 25? Is that what that is?
Yeah, there's 25.
Okay. All right.
So, because we're just talking about, this could have been hearsay or it could have been a rumor, but they did it a couple of years. I think that was actually the second year possibly. Yes. But I think on the first year, I think it was either Greg Weaver or Tony Hawk. I'm sorry, Greg Weaver or Tony Alva won. Greg Weaver won the first year. Okay. So on that one, and I think I was in the top 5, top 10, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
But I remember somebody telling me from Skateboarder magazine that a couple of people that were on the poll, because like if somebody voted for me, they could only fill out one form and send it in for voting for me, or if it was Greg Weaver or Tony Alva or whoever it was going to be. They said that it was hard to make judgment on some because there were the few people that basically they had like every kid at their school go buy a magazine, fill it out, and send it in for them.
Oh,
and it's like, but I just thought that was interesting. So that's not the way to do it.
Yeah, well, I never did anything like that. I didn't even tell people about it when I was doing that stuff. So anyway, I think I got 7th though in that. Nice. Somewhere. That was like a year or 2 after you'd already called it quits.
Oh, so you got this. So it's probably the first time I've ever wore a suit and tie to a skateboard Hall of Fame,
right?
Or a skateboard event.
And it should be that way.
Yeah, it was fun back then.
Yeah.
And so this was fun. I got 2 decks from GNS.
Yep.
I brought them up there, and I just asked all the guys that were, that were in. I would say inducted, but we're on the skateboard poll that were let's say the top 20.
Yeah.
So I had everybody sign a signature there, and then and I had those for a long time, and then I was at an event and they were doing a fundraiser, and so I actually brought those boards and put them up for auction to donate them. So those actually got sold. But what I was happy about is the guy that actually bought them was Jim Casmus. So.
Really?
Which was cool because, here Jim Casmus, one of the top photographers in skateboarding. And then so he basically kind of kept it in. Jim
was a skater too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't know that until I started seeing some pictures of him in the magazine.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. Like I just thought he was a photographer. I didn't know he was a skater.
Well, and I mean, think about that too, Dave. I think if anybody that skates and then became a skate photographer was a better photographer than someone that never skated.
Yeah.
You know, you could understand what was coming up next. I mean, think about, like, even, Billy Ruff has had published photos, or Blender, or different guys, Dennis Martinez even, but even Jim Goodrich, he knew how to skate.
Yeah.
He wasn't a competitive skater, but God, by the way, Jim, it's funny how you think, we're talking about Skateboard Hall of Fame and skater holes and this and that. I don't know why it's just hit me right off the bat. There's a few people that hopefully would love to see them in the Skateboard Hall of Fame someday. One deserving is Jim Goodrich.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look how many great photos he took of you and Pineapple and all of us, but Jim Goodrich, and
I think Jim was honestly
one of the most creative photographers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the most.
That I'd help you out on that one.
Yeah. I was going to say the best. You know what? I mean, like, when you sat there and saw his photos, man, like, I mean, I know I'd wait 2 hours for him to set up.
Yeah.
In the
dark.
In the dark, man. And at some place, and you'd be sitting there like, come on, man. It's, there's no lights on, and we got to skate. We got moonlight. And
this is, so this was similar, like, to your shot.
Exactly.
And so this was, Doug Saladino. It's interesting. I think you and I have talked about this over the years, that Skateboarder magazine, the number one thing you'd always want to do is get the cover.
Yep.
I think I didn't get a cover. You didn't get a cover. We've had centerfold. We have contents page. We've had different ads.
No.
You didn't?
Keep
No.
going.
Dang. Well, so this was Doug's photo, and what I was happy about is that Jim Goodrich took this. But so I didn't get the cover, but it was my interview.
Okay.
From this magazine.
Got it.
So, but yeah. So Jim, it's funny. There are certain guys, Jim Goodrich, another skater, GNS skater, that hasn't been inducted yet, that should be, because the guy's most passionate guy about skateboarding is Jim Gray.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the guy is just, he just loves skateboarding. So
Jim's just a great guy. Period.
Yeah, so there's a list of guys. If it's Jim Gray or Lane Oaks or Doug Marker, I'm thinking all the San Diego guys as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, but the Skateboard Hall of Fame has been great, because it definitely gives recognition to everybody involved.
Well, like you, on my interview, I didn't get the cover either. It was given to a luge guy. And I'm not bitter.
Are you sure, Dave? Well,
but we were promoting luge at that time, so anyway. But no, I mean, I look at this picture of Doug, and I can see Jim has a green spotlight. He's got a red one over here, and it just looks amazing.
Yeah.
And I know on mine, he lit up the whole bridge underneath on my picture, and then. Like Doug, I can see. Yeah, I can see Doug. He's skating in the dark.
Yeah.
And he's still getting off the thing too.
But got a great.
Anyway,
great
people. Here it is. Wait, here we go.
Props to Jim.
I guess that's it. Yeah.
Props to Jim Goodrich.
So props to
and the Pineapple for the cover.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, it was. He did fantastic work, no question about it. Okay, so we got some more pictures coming up right now. We're gonna run through them.
Wow. Okay.
I know, man. There's only like 12 pictures here.
Okay.
That I wanted to get in here because, like, this story. There's a story behind that.
There's a story behind every photo.
Yeah, man. But like, I'm so jealous. That is an amazing photo. I love that thing. Just so if you're listening, it's a picture of Steve. Is that Amaron pipes here, or is that Arizona pipes?
That's Arizona.
Arizona pipes. Yep. Okay. So who'd we go out there with?
All right.
Who? Tell me the story real quick.
Yeah. So, Dave, if you would have been on GNS, you would have.
Yeah, I know, man. I know, man. I would have been on that trip.
You would have been on that trip. Going higher than us. So. So that's
awesome.
Myself, Jim Goodrich, and Lane Oaks.
Okay.
I think we left like at 3 a.m. Drove from San Diego to Arizona. Showed up like at 6 a.m, right when the sun was rising.
Okay.
And I honestly, I don't know if it was a weekday or a weekend, but basically you just drove up and you went, oh my gosh, there's just hundreds of these pipes. It's like
which one
they're all the same. Yeah. So just pick a pipe.
Yeah.
So we chose a pipe and rode this one, and it was everything that you heard about and from other people and other stories. I mean, it was huge, 20+ foot pipe, smooth as silk. It wasn't like slippery.
Yeah.
I mean, but it wasn't rough at all. But it was just the most. It was like snowboarding in powder. It was just perfect.
Yeah.
And so you really could. I mean, if you were doing fakies and you're doing front side, backside turns, you went higher than you've ever been on any skate park, anything you've ever done. So we had a good trip there. You know, I'm padded up. I have my helmet on, but I actually did come up a little bit higher than I should have on a fakie, and came straight down and smacked my head on the, and cut my. I think I still have a little scar here from that, and
wow.
but it was fun. It was, I was bleeding, and we were putting, duct tape. And anyway, it was.
Oh yeah, duct tape works everywhere, man.
Duct tape works everywhere, but so that was a lot of fun. That was a good trip.
Because I only pipes I ever got to skate with Amarons over here in Oceanside.
Which were a little bit smaller.
No. I don't know. They were like 20 foot here. So they were for San Onofre.
Yes. So I think they were, because I just have heard people talk about it. It was, I probably in skating it seemed the same, but the ones in Arizona were, if the ones Oceanside were 20, these were like 24.
Okay.
Something like that, a little bit bigger. So
we had the same thing, but it was great. But I got to skate for like maybe 12 minutes.
Wow.
Before the security busted us, and I got busted there like 3 times, and that was it.
Oh, they had your card. They knew who you were.
Yeah, they did. So, oh well. But at least I got to say I did skate it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But
wow, Jim did your interview.
Anyway.
Yeah. So it's funny how memories just come back. So yes, I was remember I got a call from Skateboarder Magazine. They said, hey, we're going to do an interview on you, and I think Jim Casmus originally was assigned to do it, and I had asked, as much as I have respect for Jim, I had asked if Jim Goodrich could do it because of
how close you guys were, like
proximity.
Well, proximity in San Diego, but also Jim had taken the majority of my photos in pools and parks and pipes, and but I just remember it was fun. I remember being at my apartment in Spring Valley. And Jim brought his little recorder and just kind of went through a list of questions, and then he just rewrote everything, and it was fun. It was a good experience.
Well, I just know
that is Vista.
Yeah, that's Vista.
That was a fun park.
That was a brutal park too, man. That was a brutal pool right there. That thing had coping that stuck out a mile. Number one.
So, and then there was one missing piece, so you could come up and where the coping was not at.
Yeah.
You know what that is now, don't you?
It's just a
medical dispensary.
Yeah.
Hey, things always cycle around.
The parking lot's still smoking.
Who was it?
Oh my God! Yeah, we're smoking back then and smoking today.
Yeah. So anyway. Oh,
so this.
Let's go.
Can I comment on this?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Of course.
I was telling somebody this the other day, and they asked. They said, "Well, did you ever invent a trick?" And I said, "Well, kinda." And they go, "What do you mean?" I go, "Well, it wasn't, okay, Dave Andrick did an Andrick, or Bobby Valdez did a Valdez, or, different people had different tricks."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, so riding the park all the time, and then going up to Upland and seeing Schneider do the roll-in." And then so I remember Lane and I were on that trip, but we came back to Spring Valley, and then so we were practicing trying to roll in. And Dave, I know you did yours like on the 3rd try. It took me like 33 tries. I mean, literally, I'd skate along the top and drop in and jump. I'd drop in and jump, and and because it had never been done before. I mean, to be on the top and then roll in, and anyway, so because Spring Valley had so many different other, the clover leaf and different things. So what I did is I kind of thought about it, and I kind of wanted to break down the segment of going from here to here to here and then down. So I went over to the little clover leaf, and I don't know what made me think about it, but I was kind of playing with it, and I put my tail here, and I thought, well, shoot, if I can just drop straight down, that's really the point that you're getting on a roll-in. So I had never done it before, and just started doing a tail drop. Well, tail drops weren't even invented back then. So I was at a couple of days later after we learned the roll-in. Then I started doing this because that was kind of like a new trick. And it sounds kind of silly, but I actually got credited with inventing the tail drop. So somebody said, you know, so what I have fun with it, basically the tail drop's the most basic thing you're going to do to drop into a park. It's almost like putting your foot on a board and pushing. Yeah, I'm getting credit for like something like that simple, you know. But anyway, so that's where that came from. But
dude, that's a gnarly trick.
Well, it was for back then.
I slammed so hard trying to learn it.
Well,
so I remember.
Well, and think about it too. We all made the mistake of
leaning back, right?
Leaning back. I going, oh no, I don't want to. You know, I don't want to commit. I mean, people were afraid of leaning too far forward, which actually would not have been bad because if you did fall, you just fall forward. Yeah. So.
I remember like doing the roll in. I remember, okay, so the way I did it on my third try.
Yeah.
Okay. It was at the Spring Valley contest when Schneider first rolled in there. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
All right. And I was sitting right there watching. He did it right in front of me. And you know me, I was like, gotta learn every trick.
Yes.
So he did it. At the end of the contest, everybody left.
Yeah.
And I went up there, and the Sims guys and the tunnel guys and all these like corporate guys were watching. So I just rolled up, and the first one I should have made.
Yeah.
I mean, I rolled, you know, because I could roll in anywhere in that Spring Valley over vertical parts, whatever. Yeah. So then the second, you know, and they were like watching me like, oh, yeah. And then the second time I did the same thing like you said.
Yeah.
Ran in. And the third time I was like, screw it, I'm staying on. And made it. And then after that, made it every other time, you know? And I was like,
I'm jealous.
So that was my motivation. And that's when I got on Sims, because they watched me like learn that in, you know, 3 tries. And I'm like,
so one trick got you on Sims.
That's it, man.
Well,
so,
it was good times. And I think the fun part about it is, you know, we all grew up, you know, having, you know, friends that we skated with, and, you know, if it was Doug and Dennis or myself and Lane or whatever.
Yeah.
And like I said, maybe it took me 33 times, but
you were working with that with Lane.
Lane and I were doing it together, and it just happened to be that I dropped and made it, and Lane followed me right behind. So we both did 33 tries. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
that's funny. Anyway, okay, well, here's some side cuts.
So there's a little story behind the side cut.
Yeah.
So once again, now boards are progressing.
Yeah.
You know, they went from, you know, the 5-inch wide boards to, you know, 7 inches and 8 inches and 9 inches all the way up to 11 and even 12.
Yeah.
But but Dave, even though you invented and mastered the Andrict and doing you know, Bobby Valdez doing his invert, you know, you're grabbing on the outside of the board, and it's kind of hard to keep your feet on the board because it has so much, you know, leverage. So I was actually at GNS in the factory, and they had a different board that they were, you know, just like a non-signature board that they produced. And they had the tape, and for some reason, instead of just having the cutout grip tape to match the board, the cutout grip tape actually had a side cut design to it. And I put it on the ground, and I looked at it, and I thought, yeah, that would be a great design for a board. Yeah. And so I kind of brought it down a little bit further and made some adjustments. But the whole idea, even though I was horrible at doing inverts, I could barely even get the tile. But the whole idea was that if you had the board and then it cut in this way, when you did an invert, instead of your hand being here, now it's closer to inside your body. Yeah. So you have a better grab for it. So the board wouldn't flap. So it wouldn't flap. It wouldn't pop up this way. So that's how the side cut was invented.
Okay, that makes sense, because I remember the biggest guys, the biggest flappers. Yeah. One was Polar Bear on his backside here, and Jimmy Plumer. Yeah. Neither one of those guys could keep their foot on the board because their boards would go like this. And so
if they would have had a side cut, they would have been right on the feet.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Anyway. Okay. Well, anyway, so
can I comment on this one?
Absolutely, roll. So that's what this is for.
So I want to give credit where credit's due. So once again, this is Vista in San Diego, and I remember
that one looks like Spring Valley.
No, that's Vista. Okay, but remember I was commenting about Dennis Schufelt. It was a picture, and I was and that's
trying to
emulate him, and you know, in skateboarding. It was never, that wasn't a bad thing to do, to copy somebody else. It was just like somebody else doing an Andrict, or they wanted to do that. So there was you know, I look back in different photos. If it was me doing my turn at La Costa, I was just trying to be Greg Weaver. Yeah. You know, the other one I was trying to be Dennis Schufelt. I mean, these are all my heroes.
So here we are trying to be. Let me look. State Sparta. No,
Close.
no,
Close.
Okay.
There was actually a picture, and I believe it was at Soul Bowl, and I give credit to Greg Weaver, of course, for having probably the best surf skate style. Another one, of course, without a doubt, is Tony Alva.
Yeah,
one of the best surf skate styles in the business. And but so there was a picture of him riding a pool with his hand up on the nose of his board. So this is my best rendition of trying to look like Tony Alva.
Wow.
So I don't know if Tony knows that. If you do hear this, Tony, or you see it, and I thank you, because I'm just trying to be you. So I mean, we always want to try to be ourselves and be, that respect. But sometimes it's you learn something, and like I said, you see a new trick, you want to learn it.
Yeah.
Imitation is the best form of flattery.
There you go. That's it. That's a perfect way of saying it, Greg.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the skateboard.
Yeah. Skateboard Hall of Fame.
So
that's the board.
So actually, the museum.
Yes. The museum.
So that actually is the museum at the Skateboard Hall of Fame. So you know what? I'm glad you remember. I was saying, I have no idea where that board went.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought that photo up. And
you just got to find it within thousands of boards.
You know what? But at least it's in safe
yes,
keeping.
That's right. Exactly. Okay, here's a funny one.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Okay, so once again, thank yous and props to Vans.
Yeah.
So that photo was another Jim Goodrich photo.
Yeah.
So did a freestyle photo, and so Vans contacted me and said, "Hey, we're doing a display for all of our stores worldwide, and we'd like to use one of your photos." And I'm honored.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, give me a free pair of shoes. That'd be awesome. So actually, no, I didn't even ask for a pair of shoes, but so they did that, and maybe 6 months later, it was fun. I was in the Fashion Valley, mall in San Diego, and I happened to walk by the Vans store, and they had that picture on the outside of the store and the inside of the store, and it's like going, wow, that is amazing. So it just happened to be I called Jim Goodrich and Dave McIntyre, and we all came down, and because Dave was my team manager.
Yeah.
Jim Goodrich took the photo, so we had fun. The store employees were there, and so they were saying, well, who was that? And I introduced myself, and it was fun. And then also too, gosh, Dave, I always hate saying this, but so Vans paid me very nicely for that photo.
Awesome.
So
awesome. Good. No, the thing about it is that's rad. Did you ever go back to any of the Vans stores and ask for them back after they got rid of the thing?
You know what? Actually, I did. It was interesting you say that.
You have one sitting in your garage,
No,
I hope? Or in your living room? Or
No, I actually, it's funny you said that. I did ask the store if they would save it, and for some reason, when I did go back to check back, they go, oh my gosh, the display people came and took them all away, and we changed displays. So I didn't get one.
Okay. But I was going to say, maybe a call to Laura Thornhill might get you. They might have it somewhere,
Yeah, the photo's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, so I just brought this in just because, Steve CATHEY, most iconic shot I think you've ever had on a 360 shirt.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Not many people have a shirt that has a picture of them on it doing their thing.
Company.
Yeah. And a skateboard company.
So a couple of things to make comment on here. So that photo, so both those renditions of that photo, that was the original photo at La Costa. One turn, one photo, and here it leads into into the subscription page.
Yeah.
So that's a different photo.
Yeah.
So that's actually the one that was from the original first photo I've ever had.
Right.
But what's kind of fun about this one is. So so I had my skateboard, my career, and then years later, Sector 9, based out of La Jolla, California, group of guys come together, decide to make a skateboard company, and called Sector 9, and which was great because it was a perfect time because skateboarding was all about the pools and parks and pipes, and then that kind of slowed down, and there was street skating, but it was all pretty technical. And as a new kid coming into skating, it was kind of hard to try to do what the other kids are doing when they're really proficient at riding, street or parks. Well, Sector 9 came in and said, well, let's make just fun skateboarding. Let's make longer boards that girls and guys and new skaters and anybody can skate. and have a great time and just carve and have a blast. So there's a little story behind this one. Is the guys from Sector 9 were at a trade show in San Diego, and I was working at the GNS booth, and someone had made a comment saying that, hey Steve, your photo's over in a booth. Yeah. And I said, oh, that's awesome. So I thought, well, I'll go check it out toward the end of the show. So I went over a couple aisles over, and this little 10 by 10 booth, and brand new company, Sector 9, and so they had that logo, and they had stickers and T-shirts and their boards and everything else displayed. And I went up to the guys at the booth, and I just said, gosh, this is awesome, guys. I said, hey, can I buy a T-shirt, a couple of T-shirts for my son, Zach and Austin, and maybe some stickers or something. And they go, yeah, that's awesome. I said, yeah, it's our company logo. It's our #1 selling T-shirt. It's a guy named Greg Weaver. Yeah. And I went, oh, that is awesome. I said, that is really cool. I said, do you actually want to know who the real skater is, though? And all of a sudden, they're like three other guys, that work in the booth. They all came up, and they're like, "What? What do you know that we don't know?" Yeah. So they made I made that comment, and I said, "Well, it's a local guy in San Diego from the '70s. His name's Steve CATHEY." And they went, "We had no idea." Yeah. And they go, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, yeah." So. Anyway, so that's interesting. So anyway, so the guy said, "Hey, let me go ahead and write you up for the T-shirt." And so he's writing the invoice, right? And he goes, "And what's your first name?" And I said, "Steve." And he goes, how do you spell your last name?" And I said, CATHEY. And he looked at it for a second. And he looked back at me, and he goes, "Wait, this is you?" And I go, "Yeah, it was me when I was 15." Yeah. Like I said, and then all of a sudden, they just had this look on their face, like, oh my gosh, you just set us up. What's going to happen now? And
don't sue us.
No, I said, guys, stop. No, I said, I am so honored that you guys would use this. And I said, I'm stoked with this. So this was back in the days when fax machines first came out. But I remember typing on a typewriter, my own version of a release of liability, and trying to be as legal as I could, and basically saying, hey guys, I'm stoked that you guys are using this photo, and I hereby, Steve CATHEY, whatever, release all liability. Yeah. You guys do whatever you want. Thank you so much for doing this. That was a
Goodrich photo? Oh no, Bolster.
No, Warren Bolster.
Bolsters.
Warren Bolster. So I've always been so honored. And the guys at Sector 9 are awesome. Company's awesome.
Steve is super good. Yeah.
And they've been in business for over 20 years, and have just made a huge success and really helped bring skateboarding, bring people back into skateboarding on an easy, transition. Yeah. And but it was fun, Dave. Even when you and I were sales reps. Yeah. And for GNS and other products, we'd go to all the different skate shops, and and they'd have, if it was a floor mat, or if it was a poster, or their boards, or, I mean, gosh, I've had friends who would say, well, why didn't you get a royalty? Why didn't you ask for money?
That was like the top logo to all their boards.
Yeah. And honestly, it was more important to me to just be able to see that, have another life and keep rolling along. But like I said, great company, good guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, here's that missing coping.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I'm 6 inches out of the pool, that's probably as high as I could get, because there wasn't any coping.
Well, there wasn't any vert in that pool.
No, it just went like a foot.
Just got to vert, and then that was it. And then it had that coping, and that picture doesn't even show it, but that coping,
it stuck out.
It stuck way out, man. Like same with like La Mesa or La Mesa pool stuck way out, man. Yeah, Kona. Yeah, you hit that stuff, man. You just went clunk. And I can see there, you're still like looking like you're on full tracks right there, truck-wise, width-wise,
actually,
even though they're ACS.
Actually, ACS.
Yeah, but I mean like width-wise.
Width-wise, you're right.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, that board is, maybe it is a 9-inch. I don't know.
I would say that was probably
10? Maybe
probably 9 to 9.5.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I ever rode a 10-inch board.
Yeah.
So that's probably 9.5, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, but that coping was brutal.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay, and that right there is my favorite picture of you skating vert, or
at Oasis.
As far as it goes. Yeah.
So Dave, it's funny. There are certain things, milestones in our career, or our, we've had. It's like how you started, how you ended.
Because nobody did those.
Well, so there's a story behind this one too. Imagine that. It's the skate stories by Dave Andrick. So in that photo, that was a trick that I never successfully made in a pool, and it's always bothered me. So it's like the 33 attempts. I guess I should have tried 34.
Wow.
So it's that one I could do it on the banks. I could do it in a where it just came to vert, or just almost.
So
to
you're
vert.
like 21 right here then?
Maybe I was probably after the Oasis State Park.
Yeah.
Probably 20, 22.
Because you're 2 years older than me.
2 years older than you.
Okay.
Yeah. And
no time like the present to learn it.
well, it's funny when I start skating again. I start thinking. So anyways, but it's one of those things that so if I would have made that, and they're not would have been named after.
See, I never knew that. I thought you made those things back then in the pools.
Honestly, Dave, I tried and I tried and I tried. So if at Oasis, so that's in the deep end. But if I would have come back further, where it just went like this, I could do it all day long. Because you kind of went up and you just set it back down. But it was just coming up. I just couldn't get it. So I always regret that I didn't move forward on that. And
wow, man, that is a crazy story, Steve.
Yeah. So it's but it was a good photo.
Yeah, great photo. All right, well, I'm throwing a couple of these
random pictures,
curveballs in at you. Okay. Yeah, because I want to give props to Mac.
Oh, 100%.
Like he deserved it, absolutely. Yeah. So tell my story. Tell my story about it.
Okay, so what you're looking at here is that's Doug Pineapple Saladino, and then Dave McIntyre. Rest in peace with Dave. And Dave was an awesome guy. He was the team captain. He was a general manager. He loved and breathed GNS and skateboarding just in general.
Yes.
He started out originally working with GNS, sanding surfboards, and then he ended up even having his own surf shop in La Jolla. And then when skateboarding started taking off with the fiber flexes, Larry Gordon asked Dave to become the general manager. So he did that. Then he became the team manager as well. And I know myself and Dennis and Doug and Stacy and everybody, Ellen and Henry, everybody else was on the team. Dave did so much for us that, if with signature products or demos or touring or contests or anything and everything, or just even sitting down and talking to Dave and getting, he set all that up for us. He's the one that set up the photo shoots. He set up everything else. So I give a lot of props to Dave. I mean, if there would have been Larry Gordon is being inducted into the Skateboard Hall of Fame as an icon, which is the highest award you could receive. I think if Larry Gordon's such a humble guy, I think if Larry Gordon was alive today and Dave was alive, Larry would probably he probably would want Dave with him, or say, you know what, I was behind the scenes. It was really Dave. Dave's the one that should be receiving this.
Yeah, he would, but
it's. I mean, not to discredit. I mean, but then again,
Larry deserves.
100%. And Dave would.
He supported everybody, and he was honest with everybody, and that's the thing that, for me, because not everybody was honest back then.
Yeah, a good Christian guy, and but you're absolutely right. I mean, even though I said it that way, then Dave would be the first one to go, come on, Larry, if it wasn't for you, it wouldn't be for me.
That's right.
So, but it was a great combination. But no, Dave did a lot for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And it was a big part of GNS all the way to the end.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, here it is, man. Glory in its finest right here, man. This tells the whole story of the whole career.
Yeah, it does. It was a crescendo.
Yeah.
It was the end result.
That's it.
So, just kind of setting this up. So it was, we have the Skateboard Hall of Fame for 2020. It gets canceled because of COVID or delayed.
Right.
Then we have the announcement for 2021, which included yourself and myself and others. And then Dennis Martinez and Pineapple were from 2020. But gosh, I got to say, and I think you and I talked about this. I mean, every year in the Skateboard Hall of Fame was great. But to be able to, if you and I had an opportunity to pick and say what year would we have wanted to be inducted, it would have been the 2021, because it was a combination of both years. It was the biggest event ever to date. It was the largest amount of guys that were going in as far as being inducted. and gosh, being at the the band's headquarters. I mean, here it was in November. We were all worried it might get rained out. It might be too cold weather. It was 80 degrees at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was a great event. And I will say something that you and I were at the pump track, and Laura Thornhill came down, and she privately said, "I'll tell you something, but you can't say anything
tell
else.
anybody.
Don't tell anybody else."
Yeah.
And and I had no idea what she was even talking about. And so she has her phone, and she goes, "Hey, I just want to show you who the inductees are going to be for 2021." I said, "Oh, okay, thanks. I'd love to see that." So she shows me her phone, and I'm looking at it, and she kind of looks at me, and she goes, "Do you not see your name there?" And I go, "What?" I didn't see my name. And she goes, "Look, you're right there." And I went,
well,
and Dave, I truthfully, it brought a tear to my eye.
I know, Dave.
I was that emotional. It just, and I got to tell you, Dave, I think I speak for anybody that has received one of the trophies for the Skateboard Hall of Fame. It doesn't matter if you got a cover. It didn't matter if you got a centerfold. It didn't matter if you had a signature board or won a contest or anything. This one, you're voted in by your peers. I know for me, and I know for everybody else, this without a doubt is the most coveted trophy presentation whatever that you could ever receive. And so
the biggest thank you.
Biggest thank you, but also too, because it came from the industry, it came from your peers, they voted you in based on that. But so in the photo that Greg had up, here I'm holding it up, I have it hoisted up, and I'm just, I had so much excitement. I mean, it was just going through my body, and I was just so stoked, and it was a great event. I mean, that's a memory I'll have forever. And I'm glad you and I got to go in together. That made it special.
That was awesome.
That was fun.
Half the San Diego crew went in at the same time, which was really cool.
It was nice. So let's see here. So we had Pineapple, we had Dennis, you and I, Billy Ruff. And also, some people don't know this, but Chris Yandel.
Yeah.
But also, Dennis Schufelt rode for GNS in the 60s.
Yeah.
And he got in as well.
Yeah.
So well deserving.
Yeah.
But it's a great recognition.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool. And so now it continues. So we've got another set of guys coming in for. I think it's a 13th annual.
Yes.
And this is going to be November 10th.
Yeah.
Because
10th?
El Gato, because El Gato is 11th and 12th.
Right.
So it's coming up. I think there still might be tickets available.
I have no idea.
It might be sold out, but if not, check and see, because it's a great event to go to.
It is. You want to see a bunch of old people?
Yeah. Well, come on, it's a Legends event, but it's to some extent. But
well, I mean, definitely a Legends event, because there's the guys from the '90s and stuff.
Yep.
Solomon Lega's going in this year. I mean, there's some big hitters that are going in. I noticed that this year.
I mean, even
again,
and this is just a few of them, but I mean, it's Greg Ayers, and it's Bert Lamar, and
Steve Rocco.
Gosh, Leilani Keabu, another one from San Diego.
That's right. She was part of our crew. How she put up with us, I have no idea.
You know what? I have fond memories.
Everybody respected her 100%.
You know what? There weren't a lot of female skaters.
Yeah.
Kim, you talked about, and Vicky Vickers, and
Laura,
and Laura Thornhill, and Robin, but Leilani. If you would know better than I would, I believe that she was either the winner or the leader for the women's in the first Hester series. She skated in the first Hester series.
I know. She won Newark, or was it Newark, or was it? I think it was. She won. She won a couple of them. I think.
There's all the females right there.
So.
Oh, there you go.
Well, I don't know if Leilana's on there.
Janet Payne.
Oh, and Janet is inducted this year as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was. The thing that I remember about Leilani though is because she was one of the original crew. Didn't matter male or female. She happened to be the female, but she was. Oh gosh, they always hate saying this. She was. I didn't give you the yo-yo wheel. They gave it to Leilani, but she was actually the first female Yo-Yo Wheels team rider.
Okay.
And it's funny. When I think of Leilani, she had such smooth style riding the pool.
She was a style master.
And she just always had a smile. Always had a smile on her face. And just so great skater, well deserving for the Hall of Fame this year. And
absolutely.
So that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That'll be something to look
So anyway, and now, so we're going to plug El Gato really quick too.
Let's do that.
So while we're at it, so if you guys want, the El Gato is happening November 11th and 12th.
Yes.
And it happens to be Eddie Alguera's 60th birthday.
So bring him a gift.
So bring him a gift. Yeah. Probably need some kind of skateboard wheel or
maybe
something like that. No, but seriously, it's going to be a really big event this year. I know there's a lot of people going already, like guys coming out of the woodwork. I know Daryl Miller, for example. I know he's definitely going to be there, and he's also going to the Hall of Fame this year as well. So anyway,
it's going to be a great event too, because there's as we've in the past, and the present, and future skaters, everybody will be there.
Yeah.
And then it's at a brand new skate park, and it's in Palm Springs, but it's in La Quinta.
Yep.
So it's a brand new park, and
have you been there yet?
No, I've just seen photos of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll see out there November 11th and 12th.
I went out there. It was 97 degrees. Skated, and it was hot. Yeah. I was sweating like bullets after about 10 minutes. If that. I mean, probably my first run.
Yeah. It's funny. I give props to Eddie for living out there.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times that Palm Springs is nice.
Yeah.
And you get pleasant weather out there. But I was actually just out there for a mortgage conference. I'm a mortgage banker at Wells Fargo.
Okay, now I don't have to ask what you're doing nowadays. So mortgage broker at Wells Fargo. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So I've been doing that. So I was in the action sports industry for 20 plus years. So I went from being a competitive skater to the coach to a sales rep.
Yeah, so I didn't get into all that stuff.
That's okay.
I threw it on my paper and just kind of put it away.
Yeah.
But yes.
But
I mean, you put together your a skateboard manager. No, not manager. Team manager of the year. You put together Chris Miller and guys like Neil Blender, Jim Gray. You mentioned Billy Ruff. No, I didn't get on there.
No, you got it today.
I just got on there today. There it is, man.
Yeah,
there it is. Okay.
But there was so Billy Ruff, Gator.
Gator! I forgot about that.
Mickey Alba was on the team as well.
That's right.
And then
superstars, man.
Yeah. So they did give an award out for the team manager of the year.
Yeah.
Stacy got it the first year.
Right.
He put a great team together, of course, with Bones Brigade.
Yep.
I won it the second year, and then with our team, being able to do that, and that was great. I mean, to be able to have a career in skating, and then to stop skating competitively, but to have the desire and still want to be involved, to be able to be a team manager and still get to go to all the contests and not have to skate, but be able to watch it. Best thing ever.
Yeah, that is the best thing ever.
So that was a lot of fun. And
I was a team manager less than about 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell the story one day, but I got a lot of gray hair.
Oh no.
In just 2 months.
Oh, I had a great time.
Yeah, well, I was babysitting.
You
didn't have the skaters of the 90s.
No, that was a difference. There was a difference between. So
I had the World Industries guys who were used to having Steve Rocco there.
Right.
And I'm not Steve Rocco.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, the other guys were all the Plan B guys.
Right.
So, a couple of those guys worked out. The other ones, the problem was they knew, like I went to Europe once with them.
Yeah.
They knew Europe better than I did. So they knew how to cheat and get around and drive me absolutely insane. And they did.
Yeah.
And then the world guys, man, I mean, heck,
That was crazy times though.
Oh yeah. I mean, they respected, and I felt like they respected me, but it was a different time, man. And, thank you, Pat Duffy. For everything. That's another guy that's going to the Hall of Fame this year.
Oh, that's right.
The nice thing about it is I remember getting the Sponsor Me tape from Pat Duffy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
And getting him.
Last guy on our opening.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
So anyway, but getting his team manager and almost getting fired for giving it to Ternansky.
Gosh.
He was editing our the Hocus Pocus video at that time.
Wow.
So anyway, it was crazy.
Hey, I got one more story for you.
Okay, one more story.
One more story.
All right.
So this is for so back on the team manager thing.
Yes.
So having, you know, Stacy had Bones Brigade, and then Losie's had, you know,
Veriflex,
and then there was Santa Cruz, and there was GNS, and so in the very, it's interesting. I've had this conversation with him, this individual. So so I had my guys. I had 7 pros that were, you know, so I had a GNS team van that I got to drive around, and it's for some reason I don't remember even having. It wasn't like it was all the seats. It was like the front, and then the passenger seat, and then it was just empty in the back.
Yeah.
So they just rolled around. Or
right.
whatever.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. So I drove in that van. That's the Gullwing van.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
So but you know, it was recommended from Billy and for Neil, and they really wanted me to put this other guy on the team. And I was just kind of going, gosh, I don't know how it's going to work, because I can only put 8 guys in the van, you know, with myself included. So I had 7 team riders. So I didn't have enough room to bring on another team rider because of the van, because I'd be the guy that would pick up everybody, and we'd go to the contest, drop them all back off. There was no way to do it, because I wanted to keep everybody together. So the skater that didn't get on GNS was Lance Mountain.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, I never knew that.
So Lance, because he was friends with Billy, and I watched him skate at Whittier, and he was a phenomenal skater, and he wanted to be on GNS, and I wanted to put him on, but he wouldn't fit in the van because I already had 7 guys. So that was one that one situation that we missed.
The one that got away.
The one that got away.
Wow.
And then the last one, this was one more fun one, is so at because not everybody knows this, but so Tony Hawk,
I know,
was on GNS,
for one day.
And it was basically he you know, talked to Tony, I talked to the team. We decided that we're going to go ahead and put him on the team. He came down in GNS, got boxes and boxes of stuff, you know, the normal deal. And then the next day was the Del Mar contest. And Stacy had come down, and Stacy had his eye on Tony as well. And so Stacy had talked to Tony the morning of the contest and said, hey, I would really love you to be on Powell. And so I've talked to Tony about this, and I said, you know what, I would have loved you been on GNS, but it was the best decision you've ever made going with Powell, because it was a great, we're watching the game again. But anyway, so it was fun. So Tony Hawk was another one that got away, but both Lance and Tony, and I've said both in conversation, it was as much as I would have loved them to be on GNS, they made the absolute right choice being on Powell, because it fit exactly what they
man.
wanted to do.
30 years later, they're still doing it.
Exactly.
No, I mean, I had Tony before you.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because he was riding the Andrick board and stuff.
Wow.
And I went to Sims, and I said, hey, I got a guy, I got to put him on the team.
Nice.
You know, this guy is the best, and I just got, nope, no way.
Really?
No more riders. We're not putting anybody on the team. And I was just like, you guys don't understand. You're blowing it here. And then Tony told me that you contacted him, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. Yeah. And then I remember seeing him on Powell, and I was like, wonder what happened there. That was weird, you know. But anyway, I do remember that. I'm gonna try and get Tony on this show.
Oh, absolutely.
And, I'll flip and I'll go. I'd like to be on his show as well.
There you go.
So I got stories, man, and I haven't told all my stuff yet.
Yeah.
But you know, like me, you know, skateboarding stories from all the contests and stuff, team management stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have the funniest, craziest, wildest, insane stories, and because they're about everybody else, I don't mind. I'll tell them all.
Well, so what you just said though, Dave, what you need to do is gosh, would that work? I'm thinking, you know, because here you have your show, Dave, but you have so much skate history on your own that needs to be told. So somebody needs to be sit in your chair.
Well, I was going to have that's why I was going to save it for something special. But I was even going to have my son come up. My son was like, Dad, I want to do it. I want to do it.
That's the person, because it'd be hard, because it's if Tony comes in, well, you want to interview Tony.
Yeah, of course.
And so you know what? I think you just answered it. I think your son should interview you because he knows your stories, he knows your background, he knows.
Oh, he doesn't know anything, man. No, I don't tell this stuff, man.
He doesn't know.
No, you can write it out.
You know what? Honestly,
he'll have his notes.
No, I'm just kidding. It's not that bad, but I was always good. I never got in any trouble, or any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But I saw a lot of the trouble. So, and it's not really necessarily trouble. It was just kids wanting to be rock stars. I got some Dogtown stories of my own that I will let out and tell and stuff, because
you have
everybody in downtown, I don't know what it was, but everybody down south, like you, I met Jay and great and everything else. And, then, I had Dennis in here and, oh man, me and Jay were best friends. And, I'm still sitting back going, why did I have my issues then? You know what I mean? But I know why.
Well, you got picked on because you were competition.
I was, but I was also the littlest guy. Yeah. At that time, I was only 5'0".
Yeah.
And weighed maybe 125 pounds.
Yeah.
I hadn't even started puberty yet, and I was like 20.
Let's not go there.
I'm just saying, man. I was a little bit late bloomer.
Okay.
And no, I don't give a shit, man. It was the best for me. So anyway, but I have some funny stories that I'm going to tell one day.
Well, and
I've told them in private to a few people.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll see what happens. So anyway, okay. So mortgage banking now.
So I'm a private mortgage banker at Wells Fargo. I have been doing it for 18 years.
Yeah.
And absolutely love it. Yeah. I love that industry. I love helping people. It's kind of one of the largest investments they'll ever make in their life. And I get to be a part of that. I probably have got 1,000 people in my database that I keep in touch with, and it's funny when you're in the industry long enough. You do loans for one couple, and the next thing you know, you're doing a loan for their son.
Yeah,
so right. It's generational in that respect, and but yeah, I absolutely love doing what I'm doing. I think when I retire someday, it'll be from exactly what I'm doing at Wells Fargo.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Well, any last things that you can think of that we haven't covered? Because we actually covered quite a bit today. A lot more than the last time we talked.
Do you want to comment on that, Dave?
I just did. That's where I'm going.
All right.
Anyway,
gosh, that's interesting. We've covered so much.
Yeah.
And
covered more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Covered more.
Way more.
We covered a lot more.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did. And I'm just thinking, we covered I was just trying to covered McIntyre.
Yeah.
Covered some of the important people that Larry, of course. Yeah. Props to Larry as well. Yeah. I was just trying to put in all the people that that touched you during skating. Let's just say that.
Well, okay, so
not inappropriately.
Not inappropriately, but it's
that doesn't even come to my mind. But, Anyway,
you have stories there, Greg?
No. Yeah, I don't even want to know, man.
All right, so I guess I do. I guess in this respect, Dave, that we were very fortunate to grow up in the 70s. We saw a lot of things happen. It was urethane wheels, it was pools and parks and pipes, it was transition, and of all that, and so yeah, we had the skate companies, we had the managers, we had our products, we had everything, contests, everything in that respect, but
I didn't have any of that.
Well, come on. Should have, would have, could have. No. But I think just the same. Here we're talking 40 plus years later.
Yeah.
We go to a contest or we go to the Skateboard Hall of Fame. This is our reunion.
Yeah.
The skateboard industry is a community.
Yeah.
And it doesn't die. It just keeps on going. It just keeps. There's still an interest for it, and
it's bigger than it ever has been.
Yeah. So I think really we did cover a lot, but we really didn't maybe give credit to is every kid that ever read Skateboarder magazine,
right,
or bought any of our products, or right, supported the companies, the photographers, the fans, the collectors.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other people that are involved in skateboarding. That it's we're the small sector of professional riders, or in that respect. But there were hundreds of thousands of kids that all skateboard.
Millions.
Yeah, it just, there we go.
Millions.
Millions of kids that ride parks and have ridden parks, and
and no names of old pros, East Coast, West Coast guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So all the guys on the East Coast that made it grow there. Guys like Mark Lake, he's another guy going in the hall, right?
And Bruce Walker as well.
And Bruce, that's right. There's so many of them. So I totally get it, what you're saying. And that's awesome. Nobody's ever brought that up, on the show before. So to all of you guys, thank you very much. And, again, thank you for watching on YouTube.
Oh, there we go.
And please hit the subscribe button. Here's my plug time right now. Let us know how you feel. You guys can contact us anytime. We got Facebook, we got Twitter, we got Instagram.
Comment below.
Yeah, leave a comment below anywhere you want, and tell us what you like and what you don't like, or who you want to see or you don't want to see. Well, I don't want to know who you don't want to see, but we're going to be bringing on some other really interesting, cool people here. I mean, there's just so many people that are our age that have never had a word. Never have. And that's who I'm really wanting to reach out to right now. I mean, there's a lot of younger skaters. Eventually we'll get to the younger guys as well. I have relationships again with a lot of them, but I'm trying to get through another 50 of those old guys that, slalom guys, some more freestyle. I want to see freestyle back, I want to see like a catamaran contest.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Like we said, but I mean, it would be awesome to have a bunch of kids put up $1,000 and run with it, and have two teams going for it, meet somewhere and do it. Just something, just to re-spark it. Because
it'd be awesome if you could do the community concourse in San Diego.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Have the finals there.
Yeah. That would be a lot of fun.
I'm just saying, like everything is skateboarding. I don't care if you step on a skateboard. I don't care what you do on it. It's skateboarding. Yeah. And it's fun. So anyway.
Well, I think you just summed it up right there. Skateboarding, it's just fun.
It's just fun, man.
It's a blast.
It is. Anyway, okay. Well, hey, thank you, man. I really appreciate it so much. Thanks for putting me on GNS. Yes. I'm now officially a GNS member, guys. So anyway, so you can check out my my next board coming out. It's actually on Rebel Skateboards.
Nice. There you go.
Try some control wheels. Yeah. Really good wheels. I'm giving some side plugs here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So anyway, and I guess that's all I got.
Well, thank you, Dave. Thank you, Greg.
Yeah, man.
This was awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun to be able to do this.
And you guys can see this Thursday.
Tomorrow.
Already.
Tomorrow. Now, I'm just saying.
Busy. I'm just working on this.
We're going to work on it all night tonight.
Okay.
Okay. And we'll have it out tomorrow.
Awesome. So thanks everybody for watching as well. This is awesome, and Dave, you're doing a great job. Greg as well.
Well, we're just having fun, man. That's what it's all about now. So anyway, how much do you sell me your trophy for?
It's priceless.
I'm keeping it. Sell that for?
I'm keeping mine.
All right.
Okay, guys. Thank you again. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you Thursday.